Second floor.
I want to go through this whole place and take like 200 pictures. I want to take a picture of every square inch of this entire building.
Shut up, what?
Pigeons.
Pigeons, dude.
Jeez.
They come out and get you every time.
That wasn't coo, coo.
That wasn't coo. Whoa, come here.
Did you guys see that?
What?
You did not see that. You weren't looking in here. Where were you looking?
I was standing at the door.
It was like weird, man. It looked like liquid.
Like liquid?
I don't know. It was weird. I'm trying to describe it. It was nothing like I've seen before. It wasn't like a light. It was like a black light. It had like a purplish glow, but it was weird. It was like it moved, it like shape shifted. What I saw was also captured on our infrared still camera. In this first photo, you can clearly see a black mass in front of the window. In the second photo here, taken immediately after, this black mass has shifted its shape, exactly as I saw with my bare eyes. And in the final photo, it has completely vanished. Was this the same unexplained dark figure that Rick saw walking earlier?
Swear to God, you got that thing on? I swear to God, there was two distinct people, shapes, walked one after another right this way.
Really?
Yeah, honest to God.
The Pico House in the heart of Los Angeles transported us back in time to a city entrenched in the horror of race riots. We teamed up with the Hollywood Ghost Hunters, and the 6 of us came back with some great EVPs. And still photos showing shadow figures. In the end, we feel we have validated that the Pico House is in fact a legitimate haunt.
I think one of the most shocking things for me is, yes, what happened in the basement with the boards and the brick flying around, stuff like that, but it was what happened years later after that.
Tonight, some of the EVP that has the paranormal world buzzing.
This is how we met them, the EVP specialists, Mark and Debbie Constantino.
And I went down to the exact room where the brick was thrown.
With a news crew.
And if you guys did it, could you at least tell me in the recorder if you did it?
And they got a response that said, "Thank you, but we've done it."
My name is Zach Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. You wanted us, you got us. So I set out on a quest to capture what I once saw onto video. With no big camera crews following us around, I am joined only by my fellow investigator, Nick Groff, and our equipment tech, Aaron Goodwin. The 3 of us will travel to some of the most highly active paranormal locations where we will spend an entire night being locked down from dusk until dawn.
You have reached your final destination. Hell.
Raw. Extreme.
Stop! Stop running!
These are our ghost adventures. In 2004, Nick and I came to Goldfield, Nevada, armed only with a curiosity that was sparked by our own personal experiences with the afterlife. Little did we know that we would end up encountering one of the most extreme paranormal events imaginable at the Goldfield Hotel. Is that you making all the noise? Holy oh my God! At first, we thought we'd captured just a brick being thrown by an unseen force, but later, video analysis discovered that wasn't all, but also beams and boards levitating themselves in the opposite direction of the brick.
It's that evidence from our very first ghost adventure that has us rolling into this desert one more time. Back to our roots. Back to Goldfield, Nevada, a turn-of-the-century dusty mining town that once sprung up to be the biggest in all of Nevada, and then in just 10 years withered away and died. The desert, much like the road, is like a second home to us. It's Mother Nature at her most beautiful, and if you look closely, her most terrifying all at once. As the familiar heat bars emanate from the scorched desert floor, our mission has become clear. We will confront the hostile spirits of Goldfield once again and see if they've grown bolder or weaker in the 6 years that have passed. The desert is where our ghost adventures were born, in this ghost town that has called us back 6 years later. Wow, man, this place brings back memories. We're gonna be doing lockdown in 2 different locations here. The Nixon Building and the Santa Fe Saloon, an old Wild West saloon riddled with bullet holes.
Look at that. There's the whole Goldfield Hotel, man. Look how creepy that looks.
The Goldfield Hotel, the reason for our first visit to Goldfield, made an infamous appearance in the original Ghost Adventures documentary and shares historical ties with the sites we'll be visiting today. This is our first location of 2, the Nixon Building. We can't get into the Goldfield Hotel. The owner of that place has sealed that place up, doesn't allow any more filming or anything like that. But this place, you'll even see it says Goldfield Consolidated Mines Company. This was George Wingfield's office building. The spirit of George Wingfield, the man who ran a local mining company and is rumored to have killed a woman who was bearing his own child, is said to haunt the Nixon Building. All right, it's time to pick your brain. What in hell happened in here?
Some of the audio that we picked up was very, very interesting. We got gunshots. Boom. We find out later through historical research that there was a gunshot outside the building shot at
I heard about that. Wasn't that George Wingfield?
Yes.
Shooting one of the miners.
In the early 20th century, the wealthy and powerful George Wingfield controlled most of the mining in the area, and he ruled Goldfield with an iron fist. There was a riot going on outside, right?
A strike.
Right.
And he tried settling this by walking out these doors right here. Walked out these doors while they were all on strike and fired a gunshot in the air, right?
That is correct.
Did you say that you captured a gunshot or gunshots?
One single shot.
Now, one of the other EVPs that we ran into, it came across as we played it back, "You silly cockroaches."
Hey, Aaron.
Hey, there's a car over there,
I know,
dude.
that's just what I was looking at.
There's a car over by the
Aaron,
Goldfield.
zoom in on there and see what that says.
Red.
Mr. Red's Dodge Red. Dude, I bet that's him. I was hoping that we had immediately struck gold and that the word red printed on the back of that truck was a reference to the Goldfield Hotel's notoriously hard to get a hold of owner, Red Roberts, who had appeared in our documentary here 6 years ago.
Should we walk up?
Just get in the car. Let's go check it out. You never know.
Oh, dude.
Is this still rolling?
Yeah.
Pay dirt. It actually is Red Roberts. We are going to try our best and see if we can try and get in there for a night. So we are rolling on the cameras to just, so you can watch this process
This
because
is really raw. You're seeing it as we're seeing it play out right now.
Hey, Red. Hey, bud. How you doing, man? Red recognizes Nick and I right away and to our amazement, agrees to allow us into the Goldfield for one more investigation.
Is this not gonna... I got goosebumps when he said, yes, you guys are allowed in here. That's when I was like, holy
This is
serious?
This is a HGAC moment right now, a historic Ghost Adventures crew moment. What I'm about to say was not expected for us. We were gonna be filming the building across the street, the Nixon Building, and that was gonna be our lockdown. But below and behold, the owner was here when we pulled up today. I think our selling skills worked because, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll, we now with Aaron, who wasn't here with us in our first lockdown, are going to be locked down inside the Goldfield Hotel, Part 2.
This is insane.
I didn't want our good fortune to allow us to let our guard down. Red mentions that we should check in with the Goldfield Hotel's former custodian, Virginia Ridgway. Virginia still holds the hotel's keys, along with a hefty grudge because of what she had perceived to have happened to her the last time we were in the Goldfield Hotel. We had a ghost hunt here. We had like 150 people come from all over the country, and we brought them in like we like to do. Virginia Ridgway was there. She was in one of the rooms, and I started getting a little bit, heated a little bit. Are you down here, you evil bastard? And just as I said that, rocks about this big started being picked up off the floor and being thrown down by unseen forces, as witnessed by all 30 people, and they were hitting this older gentleman.
That one kind of hurt. Souvenir from the Goldfield, bombarded by rocks.
This event that was witnessed by our guests not only was as satisfying for us as what we had experienced in the Goldfield's basement, but it also seemed to have a huge impact on our guests.
Brought something back alive in me. I wanted to come see it for myself, and I didn't know that I could. And you made it possible. Kind of made a dream come true for me doing this. I appreciate it.
During that time, Virginia Ridgway said that she came into contact with two very dark entities and requested to be escorted out of the building. And she thinks that it may have been from me kind of getting heated and asking the spirits to throw things that this happened.
This is the first time I've ever been scared out of my wits in here.
I think it'd be better, Nick, since Red just requested that she's the one who let us in.
Yeah,
she has the key.
Talk to her.
I think that maybe it's a good thing for you to go down there and
I'll
talk with her first.
Yeah.
Nick bit the bullet and took the short trek to Virginia's house. He gives me the chilling update while we drive to pick up supplies for the lockdown.
First thing she said to me when I walked in the house to talk to her about getting the keys to lock us in and stuff, when Red said go over there and talk to her, is she goes, I don't want this filmed. I don't want anyone knowing about this, but look at this. She lifted up the side of her shirt, and it was a massive bruise. She said she broke her big toe. She was literally picked up, thrown, slammed into the doors.
In the Goldfield Hotel?
At her house. She said it was the spirits from the Goldfield came down there and violently attacked her. She said the reason why she thinks the spirits came down, she said they're probably warning her that they don't want us back. I think the spirits know we're coming back. They know what's happening. I honestly think that in some weird spiritual way, that this thing was kind of set up on the other side. That's just me thinking outside the box there for a second.
Like they let us to do this.
Yeah.
It's almost like this has been planned by the other side.
That's what I'm saying. I think it's weird,
This has been planned by the other side. This is too coincidental. We've been waiting for 3 hours now to confirm to do our lockdown here. Come on, Nick, just get it signed.
We're in the Goldfield.
Do you want to take a closer inside look of some of the craziest stuff that happened during our lockdown tonight? Well, go to travelchannel.com and check out our encounters videos. We've got a problem. We're waiting for the Goldfield Hotel's owner, Red, to sign off on insurance papers that would give us the authority to shoot in the hotel tonight, and some unexpected visitors arrive. We're running into a little bit of a problem. Again, and we just told you how hard it is to get inside of the Goldfield Hotel, and we came here to Goldfield, Nevada with no intentions of investigating the Goldfield Hotel, but we saw the owner out there. He's out there right now. That's Nick behind me, and apparently it looks like he's trying to sell the building, and the people that are trying to buy the building are here right now talking to him. So we've been waiting for 3 hours now to confirm with Red, the owner, to film here, to do our lockdown here. And he's kind of giving us the cold shoulder right now, and this is the kind of stuff we've been dealing with this place. Now he's showing them the papers right now, our insurance papers. Come on, Nick, just get it signed. Finally, we have a deal with Red, which will now allow us to fully concentrate on the task at hand. Another lockdown in the infamous Goldfield Hotel. Jeez, man.
I know. We're in the Goldfield.
We headed out to meet a Goldfield historian at a cemetery, but found ourselves first stopping at a place far more creepy than any graveyard.
Goldfield, Nevada isn't the only weird town out in the middle of nowhere. Just driving through Tonopah, which is just a short distance away, we just stumbled on the Clown Motel. I don't like clowns. They fit into the doll category. Holy. Holy. Wait. Do you hear that?
No.
Do you hear that? Do people really stay here?
Yep. They sure do.
What is it like to work here and be around these dolls 8 hours a day?
I hate clowns too.
You don't like clowns either?
Nope.
I feel like this is a support group. He hates clowns, Nick. He hates clowns. And now I'm starting to get a little comfortable in here now. I'm putting my arm up on, I got my arm up on the desk.
You ready to take the next step? Just introduce yourself. Say, hey, my name's Zach.
It's your first step. It's the first step.
Here, hold them. I can't hold it any longer.
What's wrong with you guys?
Go
We're
sit
done.
down.
My time limit has been reached in this room.
You locked the door, right?
Appreciate it.
Right,
Thank you.
You didn't lock
Let's
the door.
go, guys. Let's go. Let's go. We got a lockdown to do. Let's go. All right, let's get the hell out of here. Ah! What's the story with George Wingfield?
He was the most powerful man in Nevada, but unfortunately he wasn't nice at all. And then, of course, there's the story of him keeping a woman hostage in the Goldfield Hotel. There was a young woman named Elizabeth who was a prostitute and also one of his many girlfriends. He had many, many girlfriends, including a wife.
And this is who I believe I came into contact with during our investigation at the Goldfield Hotel was Elizabeth in room 109.
During our first investigation of the Goldfield Hotel 6 years ago, I documented this ball of light, which appears to be stroking my arm, in the very spot where Elizabeth was found dead almost a century ago.
She got pregnant and he kept her hostage, kept her chained in there, and she gave birth, and either he had the baby taken out and killed or the baby died.
Now, is it said that she passed away in the hotel too?
Yes. Well, some stories say starvation, others say she was strangled.
So he was not very well liked.
No, he was well hated, well hated. I think he was the type of person, anybody who got in his way, he would get rid of, remove, whatever he could do.
I knew I didn't like this guy.
No. Another one is a suicide. He worked there as a bookkeeper, and he killed himself.
At the hotel?
At the hotel during his shift, yes.
Really?
Really close to room 109, by the way.
Janice tells me a tale of gunplay involving an ex-con named Curly Joe. Joe was found dead in the Goldfield by his wife while awaiting a court date.
And I think the wife and maybe one of the sheriffs or something actually helped him into the next world.
Mark and Debbie Constantino capture EVPs like no one else we know. We wanted their expertise at our side for this amazing lockdown.
This is a monumental occasion, a moment. We are getting ready to get locked down inside the Goldfield Hotel. And what's really weird is we are going to allow Mark and Debbie Constantino, EVP experts, specialists, they are right here. And the weird story is, one particular EVP brought us together.
We had never met you guys. We had seen the documentary, and I went down to the exact room where the brick was thrown.
With a news crew from Reno.
With a news crew.
We could hear steps and clanging coming right for us. We've got movement in the stairwell. But nothing prepared us for what we would find or hear in the basement. An earlier film crew had apparently angered the spirits to the point that a brick was thrown. Now we asked whoever was there to show us that they were real. Not a brick, just something.
And if you guys did it, could you at least tell me in the recorder if you did it?
And they said, and it was almost like a performer taking a bow. They said, thank you, but we've done it.
Could you at least tell me in the recorder if you did it?
Oh, wow. Oh, I got a class A, Mark.
Could you at least tell me in the recorder if you did it?
Tonight, some of the EVP that has the paranormal world buzzing.
That's one of the best EVP I've ever captured.
Ever.
Ever.
I'm feeling shaky.
Something just got thrown at me.
Holy
Guys, we hear footsteps above you.
oh my God. I just saw the guy.
All right, Red, lock us in once again.
Thanks a lot, Red. Appreciate it again, buddy.
You're welcome. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Good luck.
The Goldfield Hotel is a treasure trove of unexplained voices, and Mark and Debbie Constantino are the best in the business at capturing electronic voice phenomena, or EVP.
These are the two people that captured one of their best EVPs they say they've ever captured in the basement when they were very skeptical about watching what happened with us, with the brick and the boards and everything that was thrown. Do you guys still have that actual recorder that was captured on?
We do. It's in our bag.
Grab it, please.
Okay.
We're gonna play your voice so that you can hear it.
You ready?
Yeah.
You're gonna hear Debbie's question, and then you're gonna hear the answer.
This is the actual EVP that you captured with the Reno News crew in response to what happened with us down in the basement with the brick.
And if you guys did it, could you always tell me in the recorder if you did it?
It sounds like a stage actor from back in the day.
Yeah.
I think it's
thinking
something
about
like,
saying
oh, man.
thank you, but we've done it.
Yeah.
God. We've set the stage. We're back at the Goldfield Hotel. Yeah. You guys ready? Let's do this.
Lights off. All right, what we're gonna do is we're gonna start this off by setting up 4 X cameras. And we got some other equipment that we're gonna put in front of the cameras as well. REM pods detect fluctuations within the electromagnetic field when ghosts manifest near them. And then after that, we'll focus on doing our communication. Cool?
Sounds good.
And one other thing. Yes, I am the only one wearing this mask, but I've been very, very ill lately with some respiratory issues because what we do can be very dangerous. Breathing in black mold, asbestos, dust, contaminants. Just needed to square that away.
Well, that just goes to show you how we keep doing what we're doing.
Oh God, not these two again.
Is that a dead bird?
Well, what's left of it? That's the first thing we run into. Welcome.
Right now, we are on the same level. When the last time that we were here, we were with our public ghost hunt event. And I was walking up and down this hallway, asking the spirits to give us a sign, throw something for us, show these people with what Nick and I witnessed in the basement can really happen here. And after I said, whoa.
Something just got thrown at me.
I heard it.
It like bounced off me. It came from back of the stairs and hit me in the back.
You tell us, is it just coincidence that while I was telling the story about rocks being picked up and thrown by themselves during our public event, Nick got hit in the back with a rock that was thrown up the stairs? You can even hear the rock hit the floor. And after I said, whoa. We tried to debunk this as possibly something falling from the ceiling, but as we looked directly above where the rock was heard hitting the floor, there was nothing but wooden beams and no loose or crumbly concrete. And where Nick was hit in the back by this rock also tells us that the trajectory was horizontal. Once Nick was hit with a rock, it becomes clear that it's time to set up our X cameras. While doing so, I see what appears to be a dark figure at the end of the hallway on the 3rd floor. Aaron, Mark, and Debbie are directly beneath us on the 2nd floor, and terrifyingly can hear footsteps heading directly towards Nick and I.
Dude, there's someone walking to you guys. I can hear from down here.
And just to document that all the windows are... Holy... What makes this very interesting is that Aaron, Debbie, and Mark were on the floor directly beneath us, and they could hear these unexplained footsteps coming towards Nick and I, even though we were both standing completely still. And just to document that all the windows are... Holy.
Hold on, we're walking, we're moving. I'm not getting a good feeling right now, actually.
Who are you? I'm not getting.
Just got hit with energy too. You can feel this. It's crazy.
Look, just document this, that my body's picking up on this. And that's not just a cold breeze, people. This is exactly what we documented at the Stanley Hotel. We conducted an experiment with a scientist whose equipment documented that these type feelings are a reaction to some kind of spiritual energy.
You can just feel the presence of some sort
Guys,
of
come up here, quick.
angry spirit. Hold on, I'm going to it.
I'm turning this
going to it because I can feel this. Who are you?
We want to communicate with you. You all right, dude? Oh my God.
I heard it.
We're at the Goldfield Hotel in Goldfield, Nevada, and the paranormal activity is reaching a boiling point. We're in search of the source of unknown footsteps, and we commence an immediate EVP session, which is the capturing of spirit voices on digital recorders, and we pick up this intelligent response.
What they last is what do you want? Yeah.
What? It's a female voice.
Listen.
What do you want?
They're back. What do you want?
Yep.
I hear that.
Listen.
Wow. Dude, that one just gives you chills.
We are going to show you the exact moment when this voice was captured. Nick speaks approximately 1 second before the spirit voice is heard. All right, you just said to us that we're back, and you asked, what do we want? We want to communicate with you.
All right, let's go. Let's move on.
Yeah, so we still have to work.
On our way back downstairs, Aaron, Debbie, and Mark decide to stay on the second level, while Nick and I continue down to the first floor to a room where it is said that a pregnant prostitute named Elizabeth died as she was chained to a radiator by George Wingfield, who built the hotel in the early 1900s. This room has a lot of meaning to us because of what we captured here on our first investigation. During that time, the feeling in this room was very welcoming and loving, but the first thing that hit us now was how that atmosphere seemed to have turned darker. What's wrong, bro? Like how?
Just my whole stomach, everything just turned right when I walked by there. It was just like something just like came up to me or something. Do you feel that?
No.
I just felt a strong, just gust of the air just went like right through me, like right past my face and everything, man. You didn't feel that?
No. You all right, dude?
It's really black over here. You can't see anything. It's like in the base. How black it is.
Someone turn my night vision off. That's what we're seeing. Whoa. Dude, that's up here. That's what we're seeing. Whoa. Dude, that's up here.
All right.
Zach and Nick are downstairs. Listen.
Can you do that again?
Be careful. I'm telling you, I'm warning you right now.
Okay.
I'm not around.
This is Zach. I'm right outside room 109 with Nick. Oh my God.
I heard it. That's what I heard that, man.
Oh my God.
I heard it. Go in and talk to her.
Elizabeth. Sweetie. Did you just cry?
You want to just roll? It's much colder. Recording. All right, wait, let's talk because I think there's something right here. Are you picking anything up?
No.
Are you right here next to me?
Is there something going on with Nick downstairs? Is there somebody messing with Nick? Trying to attach to Nick?
We are going to show you now where we just captured an EVP, because in just a moment we are going to review this and other EVPs once we regroup. We want you to hear the EVPs just as we will for the first time, right here in the moment.
They do not want us in here. It's not Elizabeth. It's like there's these other like guys in here, these bad entities.
I know.
Out.
I know.
And as you were communicating with Elizabeth, I just heard like snarling.
I know, there's
like
growling.
This is a different place, especially this area, than when we were here last. It seems it's gotten darker.
This is gonna blow your minds away.
Jesus. You gotta understand that this place is just different.
Yeah. I want to talk to Zach.
Renowned EVP specialists Mark and Debbie Constantino, along with Aaron, worked the Goldfield Hotel's notorious first floor for clues with their digital recorders.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Do you want to say something to us that Nick and Zach aren't here, and do you have anything you want to say about them?
We collect another EVP here that we'll review once we regroup in the hotel lobby.
Which one of us do you want to single out and communicate with?
Little did Debbie know, but they had just captured the answer to that question. It was now time for us to meet back up with them and review our audio.
This is gonna blow your minds away. We're hearing ground, we're hearing all this stuff, and listen to this EVP. Did you not hear that? Jesus.
We're talking about how we're hearing like snarls and growls in there, which we were.
I just heard like snarling.
I know, there's growling.
And it's like the spirit is like, that's correct. Like screaming it. And I'm just sitting there like this. Just sit, like, this is so cool.
Big time.
We were flipping out, man. There was a just felt swarming around us. I know we were getting excited, but we feel like we're the old Zach and Nick where we just, it feels like we're getting really, really excited, but you gotta understand that this place is just different.
Yeah. There's sometimes you just can't help but get caught in the moment.
We're like energizing the atmosphere with our emotional energy.
Exactly.
And they're feeding off of that.
Tell them what we got. Do you have anything you want to say about them?
Oh, wait. That was
Said my name.
Yeah, I heard that one. That was a good clear Zach right there. Right there, Zach on the end. You can hear Zach clear.
And you can hear the I want. The want, that was clear. Listen.
Yeah, go ahead. I want Zach.
I want to talk to Zach. I hear talk. Listen.
I want to talk to Zach. Wow.
With my name being said, it was time to go back into the basement, where to this date, Nick and I received our most compelling evidence ever. As we return to the same exact room where we experienced this, things yet again begin to move.
Listen, if you're a woman, I don't mean to be screaming and yelling.
What was that?
All right.
What was that? Something just got thrown.
Screaming and yelling, screaming and yelling.
It was metal.
It was on this metal pipes.
But this isn't at the level as on our previous investigation, and we can't verify that it is paranormal because we can't actually see what was moving around.
Was that a little stone you threw? Come on, throw something bigger. Show us that strength again.
As I sit down in the same exact spot where we captured the whirlwind of debris being thrown by an unseen force, including the brick, the beams, and even a board levitating and flying in the opposite direction of the brick towards this wall behind my back, I must admit I feel more comfortable sitting in this spot than I did upstairs near Elizabeth's room.
They do not want us in here. It's not Elizabeth. It's like there's these other like guys in here, these bad entities.
I know,
that just
I
want
know.
us the f- out.
For 40 minutes, we investigate down here, trying to track down the spirits we believe we encountered in 2004. But to us, it seems all the activity was occurring near room 109, and that's where we return. Before going down to the basement, we had set up our PX device in room 109. The PX has proven extremely effective for us as a valid spirit communicator.
The PX has a 2,000-word dictionary in it. Okay. It has a phonetic generator.
Triggering that generator by using their energy, spirits can use the PX to speak to the living. The device did not make a single noise for 39 minutes, but when we return upstairs, Nick is strangely drawn to room 109, and it suddenly begins to speak.
It wasn't saying anything the whole time.
Will kill?
Yeah, I heard kill.
Did it just say will kill, Nick?
Isn't supposed to do that.
No.
And now it's back on, dude. Get the out of here.
We're near the Goldfield Hotel's infamous room 109. 109 is said to be haunted by the spirit of a prostitute who had been imprisoned and possibly murdered here. We're using one of our newest pieces of equipment, the PX device. A PX device detects changes in its surrounding environment by the manifestation of spiritual energy, which in turn triggers a built-in phonetic vocabulary programmed into the device, allowing spirits to string together actual words.
Hey guys, I thought I heard what you heard.
Yeah, the PX is going off.
Can you talk to us?
Will kill?
Yeah, I heard kill.
Did it just say will kill, Nick?
Yeah.
What are you trying to tell us?
It's important to note that while the PX device is speaking, our digital recorder lying right next to the PX is also picking up unexplained voices.
Who's in there? Are you a man or a woman?
Did you see that? There was something like red, like female.
It just said female?
It said female.
I just said who's in there, man or a woman? Are you a man or a woman?
Did you see that? There was something like red. Female.
Look how black it is now.
Show them how dark it is at.
That's what Nick is seeing. I'm just looking through this little viewfinder. It's pitch black. You just said female. Are you Elizabeth?
It said hide.
It said hide? What's gonna happen if we don't hide? Elizabeth, don't stop talking. Are the bad people around you right now?
At this exact moment, our digital recorder lying next to the PX device captures an absolutely frightening and terrorizing voice. And we're going to have to bleep part of it.
Are the bad people around you right now?
Is this dark voice coming from one of the spirits that we were just referring to?
It's creepy.
Really creepy right now. Guys, I don't know what it is, but we have to go back there.
Yeah.
And face whatever the is back there.
Yeah.
We're not moving. We're staying here.
It's ice.
It is freezing. I'm shaking. This is how dark it is.
You want me? Here I am.
Go into that room on your left.
This is where Virginia said she got thrown up against a wall.
Yeah.
And I was picked up under the arms. I could feel the pressure and slammed against this wall.
Oh, it's not right in here.
We're rolling if you want to ask questions.
Yeah.
You are going to listen to this EVP we just captured here when we review the recorder in just a moment. Did you throw Virginia Ridgeway up against this wall? I want you to come out right now, and I demand you to manifest yourself. We now begin live playback to see if we just captured any EVPs.
It says yeah.
There's a real deep, yeah, I would. Listen.
Yeah. Whoa. Stop.
It's the PX, it's going crazy.
Oh my God.
Wait. And now it's back on, dude. Get me out of here, dude. Don't.
Stop.
Listen.
Video.
You saying because we captured you on video?
Nick, I got the chills on it.
I know.
Is it supposed to do that?
No, it only does that when something is
A
going.
high energy boost into it will make it go off.
Make your move!
I'm getting dizzy.
I am too.
Yeah.
I'm getting
Yeah.
big time dizzy.
At this time, several things occur. First, there is this shocking male voice saying the name of the woman who was apparently chained to the radiator where she eventually died.
Now, is it said that she passed away in the hotel too?
Yes. Well, some stories say starvation, others say she was strangled.
It is also at this time that we firmly believe some kind of energy from a dark entity starts to have an effect on Nick.
You still dizzy?
Yeah.
Nick,
What?
you still dizzy?
Did you feel other things?
Alright, you're scaring me.
Just then, Mark's digital recorder captures this threatening voice.
Alright, you're scaring me. Why don't you walk down this way?
And if you look very closely to the left side of your screen, you'll notice that right after that voice was captured, this black mass or figure unexplainably appears and then moves towards Mark.
Alright, hey guys, come here. Come
What?
here. What's wrong? Nick's, I don't know, Nick looks, Nick looks good.
Nick.
What?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm fine, why? Me and Nick were hanging back here, and there was something coming up on us. I started talking to him, and he...
All right, wait.
We all rushed towards this loud crashing sound, and in the last room on the left, we discovered shards of broken glass all over the floor.
What just broke?
It's just glass. Okay, so where the did the glass come from? I was just in here. That glass wasn't here.
Did the dark mass have something to do with this?
All right, wait.
Immediately after this event, every single one of us began to feel physically ill and drained.
Dude, are you throwing up?
Is the negative energy we all felt during this investigation having an effect on us? By listening to all the voices we captured, we know they want us out. And we also know why the owner keeps this place firmly locked from the living. We drove into the desert in search of a reason as to how a thriving mining town could seemingly disappear into thin air. It soon became clear that this air was thick with malevolent spirits.
We'll kill?
Yeah, I heard kill.
And while we learned that our hunting skills had sharpened, we also learned that while we were preparing for the spirit world, the spirits had been preparing for us.
All right, wait.
So So this was a stop for the
Spanish Trail wagon train.
Do you guys hear like a boom, 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 boom?
I'm feeling static right now.
So am I.
My name is Zach Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. You wanted us, you got us. So I set out on a quest to capture what I once saw onto video. With no big camera crews following us around, I am joined only by my fellow investigator, Nick Groff, and our equipment tech, Aaron Goodwin. The three of us will travel to some of the most highly active paranormal locations where we will spend an entire night being locked down from dusk until dawn.
You have reached your final destination. Hell.
Raw. Extreme.
Stop running!
These are our ghost adventures. We're at the Bonnie Springs Ranch in Blue Diamond, Nevada. A Wild West themed attraction was built here in the 1960s, but it was built on land that sat right on the Spanish Trail. That was a stopover for wagon trains heading to the West Coast in the 1800s. Trekking on the old Spanish Trail could be extremely dangerous. You had Mexico threatening you from the south. You could die from outside elements. You could be attacked by bandits or just run out of supplies. The adversity endured here could be the catalyst for the unexplained activity experienced at Bonnie Springs. We've come in an attempt to document these events.
So this was a stop for the
Spanish Trail wagon train.
Okay, so regular cowboys, regular people that were going to California would stop here.
They'd stop here. All
Okay.
types of people. You never know what kind.
This was like an expressway to California.
This was the expressway to California on the Spanish Trail. You can see what kind of terrain these people back in the wagon train days went through.
You're traveling hundreds and hundreds of miles on a wooden wagon with horses, and you're not around doctors. You have influenza, all kinds of sicknesses. So what you're saying is there's really no telling what events occurred here.
Right.
Bonnie Springs Ranch, this is your family's place.
Yes. My mom's been here since 1952. Wow. Dirt roads and no power when she came here.
Really? Just absolute nothing.
My mom comes from Hollywood. Her dad was a director, so she saw movies and that kind of stuff here, and so they kind of got into the, we're going to build a Western town.
It does look like a set of a Western movie. I know it's a make-believe town built in the 1960s, but it has that creepy carnival feel to it. Like when you walk around here, you're being watched.
Yes.
If you have spirits during the wagon trail days, who is the attraction really built for? The living or the dead?
Good question. Good question.
Do you believe in ghosts?
You know, I never see a perfect image of a ghost.
Not everybody does.
I've heard strange voices. I've heard someone walking close to me in here, and there's nobody there. You know, when you go look around the corner, it's a completely empty room.
So you think this place is freaking haunted?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's things that I can't explain.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been a private investigator, regular investigator. I worked for corrections.
Oh, geez. So
yeah, I got about 30 years. And like I said, you know, most of the things when you do an investigation, there's a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
But what gets me with this is there's no reason. I cannot explain what I saw. Like, I'll tell you, like, you know, just a merry-go-round. That's the first one that ever got me. I was standing right here like it is today. And all of a sudden, that started spinning, okay? Like a little kid doing it. The big thing is when I approached it, it dead stopped. It is pretty heavy, as you see.
Right. So you've seen this thing go by itself, huh?
Yes.
Do you ever hear kids?
Yes, it sounds like kids in a distance. But you're right here.
Right here. What did you say something about this schoolhouse, about a little girl in here?
There was just a lady here the other day that said she got feelings and she had spiritual contacts. She was sitting right there, and she said that she heard a little girl saying she wanted to go home.
Aaron. Yeah. You're a big kid, so you're going here tonight.
What's wrong, Zach?
Which way to get my non-dizzy miss in the back?
Go the spin right.
I don't know how kids do that.
Bonnie built this town because of her love for old westerns, a love that's contagious.
GAC in Bonnie Springs, take 5.
I told you to get out of my town! What are you doing in this town? This ain't your town. I run this town, and your ugly face shouldn't even be seen around here. You don't run this pal. What are you gonna do about it? What am I gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it? Challenging me? Let's see what you got. Don't test me. Let's see what you got. Test me. Let's see it.
Adios.
This is where a darker spirit is said to reside.
There was 4 of us in there, and there was 5 shadows on the wall.
My ancestors roamed throughout these mountains here.
I think it's right under me.
If you want to get all the latest Ghost Adventures updates, including sneak peek videos and even behind-the-scenes material, like when I learned to do the stunt for tonight's episode, jump in here, land on your back on this little mattress is considered a pretty big stunt. Yeah. Visit us at travelchannel.com.
You rolling?
Yeah, hold on.
Roll.
I am.
Are you getting this, Aaron?
Yeah.
Okay, what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, is a burrow. Here you go. Come here. Come here. Oh my God. Oh my God.
No way. That is awesome.
Hey, buddy. This is a wild burrow. Does he spit?
Yeah, he does. And he bites. And they bite.
Hi, buddy.
They're actually very vicious.
Hi. How are you? My name is Zach. Would you like to say anything to us?
Ask if he knows any ghosts here.
Do you know if this place is haunted? Excuse me. Thank you. When you heard the voices, did you think that it was more of... Okay. Let's go ahead and head on.
That's awesome.
I have my own phobias in life.
Yeah.
I'm not real good around, I don't know, mannequins and stuff, but my biggest thing is old wax figures. Yeah.
This starts to actually the wax museum back here.
That's what I'm talking about. Sexy mannequins.
They've heard footsteps in here. That friar there, the first year I was here, every time we came in here, he was down on the ground, and he's actually bolted in there. And then one day I came in, I found him down in here.
What?
Now, I don't know, we don't really have earthquakes or anything like that, but it hasn't happened like that in a very long time. Like I said, it's always damp and cold in here.
Guy's creepy.
Yeah, he's got creepy eyes.
I kind of want to stay in here, man.
Actually, I know my way out. I could have left. I wouldn't do that to him.
This guy's going to battle.
With a bear.
That just looks wrong. this the bear without his pants on with a guy spread eagle. This just doesn't.
Let's keep the line moving. Let's keep the line moving up there.
Right now, Joe brought us to this opera house here in the little village, and this is where apparently a darker spirit is said to reside. Do you ever get uncomfortable going in here?
I was with one of your cameramen the other day. He was came here to do a site tour.
Okay.
Joe was showing me around so I could take some photos and being just a really super nice guy. And he said, I've got to show you the opera house.
I did exactly what I'm doing now. I pulled a lock, okay? He was standing approximately right here.
And he reached back into his pocket, pulled out his keys, and just before, maybe an inch before he got to the lock dropped down and flipped open in his palm.
And my heart was pounding a little bit because that's exciting stuff.
Oh, somebody wants you in here.
Yeah.
Somebody's helping you get in here. So this is the place.
And this is the opera house.
Have you ever felt uncomfortable in there?
Oh, yeah.
You have?
Yeah. I have seen like a cloud type deal against the wall. There was 4 of us in there, and there was 5 shadows on the wall. Paranormal investigators came in. They were taking pictures while we were talking right here, and one of the pictures, there is a black cloud around me going towards him.
So this is where you were standing?
Yeah, we were standing right here.
When you captured this black mist?
Matter of fact, a lot of people say in this area right here is where there's the most activity.
Is there a breeze? I don't see those leaves moving at all.
No, it's cold air.
Did you? Yeah. What is that?
It's going this way and that way. If you put your hand
I know,
out,
but
you
it's
can feel
freezing
it.
right here.
Yeah.
It's absolute.
Very
it just
cold.
got freezing.
Very cold. As soon as you started talking, we started talking about anger.
Let's feel this.
Yeah.
Put your hand right here.
Oh, that is cold.
It's absolutely
that is cold.
Freezing.
There's people from all over the United States that come visit us. And I don't tell them there's anything here. They tell me. How everybody explains it, I had one person tell me it was evil, but the rest of them tell me it's an angry feeling. It's like somebody's very mad.
Oh, I found where I want to be tonight. Under this roof. This area that Bonnie Springs Ranch is in right now was an area that had Indians around here back during the Spanish Trail days?
Well, there was some Indian groups that lived in the area and in Vegas area and just to the north.
Right in this spot, you have the Paiute Indians.
Right. There's some caves up in the mountains that have artifacts and stuff.
There is a lot of Indian writing on the rocks.
So if the Paiute Indians lived up here in the caves, I'm sure a lot of them died up there.
Sure.
And I'm sure if their spirits are here, they're still coming down here to investigate the areas that they would investigate when this place was, you know, a wagon trail stop. You know what I'm saying, guys? I say this, all right? We find a Paiute Indian and bring him to this area and possibly conduct some kind of ceremony with us and introduce us to the spirit world, introduce us to the spirits of his Paiute Indians.
Excellent.
He says it's a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. Tapping into that other side, you know, that spiritual side.
Mike, Naur, Ing, Saikonant. I'd like to welcome all of you to the land of the Southern Paiutes. At one time, my ancestors roamed throughout these mountains that are here. We came here to gather medicine, to hunt, gather food. Reach up like this and receive a blessing. Whatever you want, now's the time to ask for it. Our Heavenly Father, I want you to look down on these people that are here filming this production. I ask you, the Great Spirit, to come and be with them, share with them. And we ask everybody here to enjoy themselves and enjoy this area. And I wish everybody the best, our Heavenly Father. Peace up, amen.
So we set out in search of the caves that the Paiute Indians had once called home. We hope to find a deeper understanding of this great land and its remarkable people.
Right now you can see the sun's just getting ready to go behind this big mountain. And when it does, we have 2 hours before it gets dark. We are in a race against time right now because that is where we're doing our lockdown. Right now where we're standing, that's where we have to go by the red rocks. We're gonna do a 15-minute fast forward from this point on. You agree not to say a word, right? We're doing this because we have to hurry up.
I bet you I could throw a rock as far as I can.
You couldn't even.
And that's where we're gonna land in 15 minutes.
Ready? Start now.
Oh!
Come on, man.
No, dude, that's in my calf, bro. Oh!
You gotta pull from the bottom.
Oh, man.
Ah!
All right, come here.
Watch
come
the
here.
other. Don't fall into him.
We're gonna have to leave him here.
Man down, man down.
That's what they did back in the days.
You hoping to get a good shot when I fall?
So I got the camera pointed on you.
That's why you brought me up this way.
Why?
Because.
What?
Isn't that weird? That he's leading me to the most dangerous areas, and then when I get there, he doesn't help. He just films.
What the Nick? Hang on, Nick.
Nick, the cave's right down here. Come on.
I don't mountain climb, dude.
I think it's right under me.
Seems like I'm skiing.
Some entrances to some caves.
Anything?
Just like caves leave a mark on majestic peaks, we believe that certain events can leave a trace on the spiritual terrain around us. Will the souls of those who lived and died on this land try to contact us tonight?
I just want to document that. I don't know if we'll be able to make it in time for exact sundown for our lockdown, because we still got about a good 45-minute hike back to Bonnie Springs Ranch. So I'm going to shut up now, and we are going to hurry up and try and get back for our lockdown. Let's do this. Oh. This is going to be a long lockdown.
It's awesome to have a whole ghost town to yourself.
Dude, it looks like a man sitting Indian style.
All right, darkness has fallen upon Bonnie Springs Ranch. This place sat on the old Spanish Trail, which was always a threat from Mexico, and this may be the reason why they're experiencing a bunch of unexplained things here. And that's why we're here, to try and figure out if those things are ghosts. Joe.
Yes?
Tonight, we are going to invite you in our investigation with us, so you can get some closure and answers for the experiences that you've had in here for the years that you've been working here.
And I thank you for that.
Okay, and I want you to interact with us. I want you to participate with us. I want you to operate some of the equipment. Come back here at midnight and we'll have you come in with us at that time.
Sounds good.
Okay. Let's do this.
You got it.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You okay?
This is gonna be a long lockdown.
I'm good. Go ahead.
And also, tonight, we are going to be bringing in a couple friends of ours from Las Vegas Paranormal Investigations. Some great, knowledgeable, seasoned paranormal investigators. And Wally, who we've had on the show before, help analyze a lot of our footage. Wally encountered an actual attack right here in the Wax Museum. So that's another reason why we're bringing him in, to see if we can document that attack on our equipment.
We got some new gear for the investigation tonight. First off, we got a new
Greetings, and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Hello/X/. I've never made a post on here before, so pardon me if my formatting is garbage. My interest was piqued when I stumbled upon a Government X Project Alien Tech thread on another board and decided to post my own. I have a story I'd like to share, with actual photographic evidence and an eyewitness testimony from my dad. My father was a Cav Scout in the late 80s and early 90s. While he was out patrolling as opposing force during a training exercise, he had spotted and photographed a strange craft over the Nevada desert. He watched for approximately 15 minutes before it vanished off into the distance, pic-related. I was unable to get any better pictures, as this was taken from a Polaroid disposable camera, so I'm sorry that the image looks like shit. The image in question shows what looks to be a type of disc-shaped object. I cross-referenced multiple pictures from both alien and human origins and came to the conclusion that this thing looks like Nikola Tesla's 1928 patented two-seater craft. I recommend Googling it and cross-referencing yourself for comparison. The visual is very similar, even at such a terrible resolution. There are two pictures, but I am unable to get the second one at this time. My father is currently looking for the other one as we speak, so I can try to share it with you all once he finds it. I'm unsure if this is of alien or human origin. I'm leaning towards the latter because this seems to be a very human design from the looks of it. My father is an old and quiet Christian man, has no belief in UFOs or aliens, and hasn't shared this with anyone else but me. It puzzles me that after seeing something like that he never shared this with any media outlet or other family members. He was very casual about it and never tried to convince me about its authenticity. This is what he told me when I asked him to describe what he saw that day. I was sitting in my Humvee watching over a road for the opposing force, and I kept noticing something moving left to right in the distance. I thought it was just a helicopter at first, because a few had been out flying that day, but it was flying weird. I couldn't hear anything. It was really strange. I was alone, so I couldn't even ask anyone what they thought about it. If this thread is up by the time my dad finds the second photo, I will post it so everyone else can see and analyze it. Does anyone have an explanation for what my dad may have seen?
Many nations in history have made similar airships. The Nazis were the first to attempt to create this tech. An Operation Paperclip saw this project finished in the United States and potentially other nations such as the Soviet Union. They were built off of stolen Nazi tech, like the V-2 rockets or jet engines. The reason why these are left as unidentified to the public is because for some reason, governments of the world won't release the fact they have made a flying saucer and have since at least the early 50 allies. Flying saucer sightings aren't common anymore, maybe because better airships have been designed, but during the 20th century they were certainly made. All of human origin, designed by the Nazis, perfected by the Americans.
Which makes a lot of sense. The technology for cloaking or stealth technology was very limited when the first few craft were being developed, so it was probably more commonplace to see them flying around when they thought nobody was looking.
What's the source for the two-seater craft? Where is it from? By Googling, I could only find random pictures with no sources, and other Tesla aircraft patents have propellers, no UFOs.
I may have made a mistake on the patent. There is very vague information on his patent for a UFO-esque craft. However, you can find photos of it by Googling something like Nikola Tesla UFO patent 1928 for pictures and sketches. He did receive a patent for a VTOL, vertical takeoff and landing like aircraft, but not sure where that went in regards to development. A lot of his parents and work were confiscated by the FBI after his death, so it's possible that he had sketched an idea for one, but it isn't publicly known.
Most likely, it was an aircraft being tested out of Tonopah, or the bombing range that straddles Death Valley National Park and National Training Center, and Fort Irwin. The shape in the picture could be a typical flying saucer, but it could also be an ordinary jet viewed from the side or back. There is literally no possible way to prove what it was one way or another, and your options are to chalk it up to the closest reasonable cause, or endlessly speculate to no real avail.
I tried to rationalize it as much as I could. My father was unsure what it was as well. He stated that it made zero noise when it was flying. and that it wasn't a helicopter. There were helicopters out that day, but he never explicitly stated it was an alien craft of any sort. I assume he chalked it up to it being a weird prototype craft and just forgot about it afterwards. I came to the conclusion it was a human-made prototype model craft, judging by the shape and size. I doubt aliens had anything to do with this one. It's really difficult to figure out any details because he took these photos on a dumpy-ass disposable, so there's little room to properly identify it. When I asked him again, he told me that. It was moving side to side and up and down and a whole lot of hovering. I thought maybe a helicopter, but it was super quiet. So take that as you will. He has absolutely no idea what it was, and he's old and crusty, so the memory is vague at best.
Like I said, it's likely that we'll never know for sure. I have seen weird aircraft like that myself while out on training exercises with the Army. And while I'd love to know WTF, I was seeing there's nothing to go off of other than cell phone videos of a weird green light bouncing up and down in the sky. Neat photo though. Be sure to post the other one if your dad finds it.
For sure, I'm also military and have seen lights off the side of my plane traveling to Europe, but sadly never during exercises. I would also love to know what weird pictures or stories you all might have that you'd like to share as well. I love hearing what stories people have to tell. Anything related is appreciated. Stories, images, theories, government cover-ups, etc. My dad's image reminds me of this craft from a sighting in Cedarville in 1982.
The gunner of the Bradley carrying my squad saw a faint light bouncing around the sky through his gunner's thermal sight during a field exercise on Fort Riley a couple years ago. The thing jumped up and down, did some zigzags, stopped in place, and then vanished. He filmed it on his phone and showed the rest of us, but we never figured out WTF it was. I also saw a weird green light doing the same motion somewhere to the west of the same base while driving home from Thanksgiving at my parents' place. It was like 2 in the morning, and as I stopped at a stop sign, I saw it come over the wood line by the Post golf course, do some bounces and movements, and dip back down. Both things could have been drones, but there's no way to know for sure. The one the Bradley gunner saw was visible in the thermal spectrum from several thousand meters away.
Does your friend still have the video recording of it? That would be really cool to see. I saw my UFOs while flying over Atlanta on my way to Europe. Never told anyone about it either because nobody would believe me. Everyone else on the plane was asleep when this happened. I was looking out the window while listening to music and watched as a huge fleet of lights flew past the plane about 6 or so miles away. The best way to describe it was a GIF I found that perfectly describes what I saw, albeit they flew slower and not in sync. I'll post it, but it was nighttime, and the plane was dark, so there was no reflection coming from behind me mirroring off the glass. I thought it was a plane, until I saw more and more until I lost count at 15. There were dozens of them all flying through the clouds. I still have no clue what I saw. When I asked another friend of mine who was in the military, he told me that you will see some really weird shit in the sky at night.
Dumping. Mark McCandlish. It was a fellow that I knew. His name was Arthur Reed, who took this photograph in 1982. He was just exploring Northern California by car. He was driving somewhere about 10 miles north of Cedarville, and he saw a large group of people that had pulled off the road, and they were all sort of looking off to the west. And so he, just out of curiosity, stopped to see what it was. And off in the distance was this immense black thing, big, large V-shaped vehicle, and the shape of it was what kind of gave it away as the possible product of Lockheed Skunk Works, because it had the same sort of faceted flat surfaces like a stealth fire. The craft looked an awful lot like a large black V, and in the middle of each of those 2 wings, or legs, or whatever you want to call them, which were really thick and not aerodynamic in any way, shape, or form, but there was a large white sphere.
Could it be connected to the Nevada lights and the footage of it hovering over the desert? The sketch I posted theorized that it looked jagged in geometry, but this states that it was a triangular object. Very interesting.
And then there was one up in the very front where they kind of came together, and there were seams on the surface of the thing that looked like the different parts of the vehicle could be articulated and folded up into almost a triangular shape, There were a series of red lights that went from the nose back towards part of the fuselage, where the wings joined together. And the thing was in a nose down, banked to the left, and it was hovering in this position about maybe 250 feet off the ground. And it was maybe a quarter of a mile to a half a mile off the roadway. Very large. He said that he thought that this thing was somewhere between 300 and 600 feet on a side. It was that big. He said that it was making this low, pulsating humming sound, almost like something you'd see in a science fiction movie, sort of this whirring sound kind of sound. But he said it was so powerful, so loud, that you could feel it in your chest, that your chest would kind of vibrate and resonate with the sound. And the people that were there that had pulled off the road represented kind of like a cross-section of what you'd find in America. The deeply religious people that are crying and on their knees, praying to God to deliver them from this chariot of the devil. There were other people who were running towards it and waving and saying, "Take me for a ride." And there were other people there hooting and hollering like they were watching a fireworks show on the 4th of July. In the photograph in the foreground, you can see people standing in the bed of their truck, and you're seeing them all from the back, so you can't tell exactly what they're doing. But a lot of them, their arms are like this, up in front of his eyes, like they're watching it through field glasses. There are other people just sort of standing around, just taking it all in, watching everything. But he said that this thing sat there for the better part of a half an hour, and that's why there were so many people that had pulled off and were watching. And apparently there was some kind of a flight control issue with this thing, and it had initiated a bank, and then they couldn't pull out of this dive, so they just stopped, and it was hovered in this banked, nose-down position. And so apparently whoever was working on this thing was not able to repair that particular problem. And so the way they resolved it was this thing continued in its bank. I have to turn my hand the other way to do it right, but imagine this. His hand is now face up and he's pointing to his palm. Is the upper surface like this? So the thing flips end over end like this, the top rising up and back. But at the same time it continues to roll. So it goes like this. It first rolled to the right, and then the nose twisted up and back, and it's pointed up and away from the crowd. It starts to climb out slowly, getting louder and louder, and then it gets to about 5,000 feet and goes just like that, out into space. But he said he went back about a week later, and he parked his car in the same spot, and he was walking out to see if maybe there was any evidence on the ground that this thing had been there. Maybe something got dropped off of it, or maybe there was crop circle type evidence, that kind of thing. This Air Force truck comes rolling up, the dark blue with the yellow stencil on the side. United States Air Force, and a couple of military cops tell him he needs to get out of there and leave immediately, or they're going to arrest him, and they're going to impound his car. So he leaves.
Fascinating. So this craft possibly had a stall and failed to fly correctly, so they had to suspend it mid-flight to correct it. I didn't know the further story behind this sighting, didn't know it went in that deep. Thank you for the dump, this was a really good read.
I have witnessed 2 UFO sightings in my life. First one, 2003, North Las Vegas. Walking back home by myself from a friend's house. See 2 bright, multicolor lights high above the horizon near Nellis Air Force Base and the Motor Speedway. Then a bunch of smaller lights come out of the right light moving towards the left light. Then they became solid lights again. Then again, a bunch of smaller lights began moving from the left towards the right this time. From my perspective, it looked like moving right to left and left to right, but also gave me the impression they were spinning in a circle. The phenomenon lasted like 5 minutes. Then the lights vanished. I told my friend and told me they were probably flares from Nellis Air Force Base. But I know what I saw. I made this GIF attempting to describe what I saw back then. It was way high on the horizon, and I have looked for videos with the same phenomenon, but the one I found was long time taken down. My second event also happened in Las Vegas, and my wife was with me at the time, so she also saw it. 2014, North Las Vegas again. Driving to pick up our baby girl from my parents' house. My wife and I exited the car parked in the driveway. We were facing east, towards Nellis Air Force Base. We look up and saw over 30 cobalt blue lights across the horizon in no particular formation. moving from south to northeast. Looked like a cluster or fleet in random order of blue lights. Beautiful blue glow did not glitter or blink solid light. No sound. Moving very fast. We both were flabbergasted. I could not manage to pull my iPhone and record the event. It happened so fast. The entire event took about a minute or less. We saw the lights go behind the mountain range and became out of view. I was able to find a video on YouTube with the same phenomenon, covered it into WebEM.
For those just listening, the video shown on screen is of lights following each other around in the sky, while the cameraman is unable to hold his phone still, so he loses track of them every few seconds.
A comprehensive analysis of the UFO phenomenon, as well as original research and experiences of members of the CECD CE5 Initiative Working Group, has enabled us to make some specific conclusions about UFOs, extraterrestrial intelligence, and their motives. The summation of this analysis, which follows, is intended to assist both groups and individuals in their efforts to understand this complex subject. We have recorded only those conclusions for which we have a high level of certainty. General conclusions. Some UFOs are extraterrestrial spacecraft, ETS, which are piloted by extraterrestrial biological entities, EBEs, who originate on another planet and most likely another star system. More than one extraterrestrial civilization is represented in the current activities involving Earth. These extraterrestrial civilizations are working in concert and not competitively, although there is some specialization in function and activities for the various groups. This indicates that there exists either an emerging or well-established organization for these groups. These beings have bases within this solar system and may maintain temporary bases on Earth, particularly underwater. While various reports and speculations exist, we cannot at this time definitely state which planets or star systems are the home systems for these beings. Any specific information on this subject is very likely to be incorrect due to the security considerations of these beings. That is, given human tendencies towards war, aggression, and violence, open disclosure of their planets of origin would put these planets at potential risk should human military interests unravel the energy and propulsion technology of their craft. The variety in sizes and shapes of ETs observed is due to A. Varying civilizations of origin, and more importantly, B. Specialization of function, which include general reconnaissance, medical research, central command and base operations, energy generation and transfer, and human technology, military and space program research and reconnaissance. Sudden and fully open contact with human civilization has been avoided because of a number of interrelated factors, including A. The need to avoid an untimely disruption of Earth civilization, including military, political, geopolitical, cultural, economic, technological, and religious upheaval. B. Risks to their own civilization and people, as well as overall mission, given human xenophobia and tendencies towards violent armed reactions. C. Up to this time, such massive and open contact has not been necessary, and has not been consonant with their overall long-term mission and purpose. See below the question of intent, since their purpose is not acquisition-oriented or disruptive. A plan is in place to allow for gradually broader and deeper contact with human society and individuals so that humans may become accustomed to the reality of other intelligent beings in the universe, and so that needed research and observation may take place on both sides. Limited but increasing opportunities for bilateral and human-initiated contact will occur in the reasonably near future. Sudden and large-scale contact will occur only in the event of a significant worldwide emergency, man-made or natural. While extraterrestrial intelligence observation and interaction with Earth is probably an ancient as opposed to purely modern phenomenon, the marked increase in activity coinciding with World War II and the dawning of the nuclear age indicates that extraterrestrial intelligence are quite concerned about this transitional stage of human social evolution. They are particularly concerned about human nuclear weapons and technology, and their potential for worldwide destruction, and possibly for their potential threat to extraterrestrial intelligence, although this is nominal. These beings are further concerned with our peaceful transition to a world society, international peace, and the establishment of a just, effective, and representative world government expected to occur within 10 to 15 years or less. Extraterrestrial intelligence technology is strictly guarded by both extraterrestrial intelligence and human governmental agencies because of its potential for military applications which would greatly threaten world security. It is imperative that this technology not find significant human applications until such time as the Earth attains international peace and an effective world government. The U.S. government, at least at the level of a highly compartmentalized above top secret group, has known about the reality of these extraterrestrial spacecraft and their occupants since at least 1947. A strict secrecy and a worldwide cover-up of these facts have been maintained due to A. Fear of public panic and social disruption. B. Security issues surrounding possible military and technology applications of extraterrestrial intelligence technology, especially in the setting of a world beset with Cold War tensions and competing interests. C. Uncertainty and mistrust regarding extraterrestrial intelligence motives and ultimate intentions. D. Embarrassment and consternation over human military inability to secure world airspace from repeated penetrations by extraterrestrial spacecraft. E. Embarrassment and loss of face resulting from disclosures concerning how this matter has been handled, such as the harassment and ridicule of innocent civilians and military personnel, the withholding of information from the public and Congress, etc. The U.S. government possesses several extraterrestrial spacecraft and the deceased bodies of several extraterrestrial biological entities. While there is evidence to strongly suggest that these agencies are attempting to reverse engineer these craft, such efforts have not been functionally successful, although a number of secondary and partial discoveries have resulted from this research. The nature or reality of these craft and these beings has been incorrectly characterized by some as belonging to another dimension or reality from this dimension. Unfortunately, these statements are made without fully considering what this reality is. A more correct understanding of this is that the full spectrum of reality is a singular, integrated one, which may be perceived wholly or in its various aspects, such perception being entirely dependent on the level of consciousness of the perceiver. The various aspects or dimensions of this reality, which are limitless in number, are not restricted to or by time and space as we know it commonly. These beings and their craft belong to the same reality as humans. However, their advancement in the realms of physical science and the science of consciousness has given them competence in a broader aspect of the full spectrum of reality than is usually experienced by humans. The difference, then, is one of degree and not fundamental reality, since humans potentially have access to all aspects of the full spectrum of reality, just as extraterrestrial beings do. These differences are not insurmountable, nor are they truly fundamental. In fact, they are relative and only temporary. While these beings are utilizing and experiencing a broader aspect of the full spectrum of reality, so too can and will humans, for we are as interdimensional by nature as them. Extraterrestrial spacecraft energy and propulsion, or space transfer systems, utilize principles and laws of the physical universe not yet fully appreciated by human science, and include A. Gravity, anti-gravity, and electromagnetic gravity technology. B. Space energy and so-called hyperdimensional energy systems. CC. Matter energy interchangeable technologies. D. Possible consciousness-assisted technology, CAT, and technology-assisted consciousness, TAC. Some, if not all, extraterrestrial biological entities have advanced mental capabilities, which include telepathy, precognition, remote viewing, and others, indicating that they have developed the science of consciousness to a degree which parallels or surpasses their advanced physical technologies. Humans also possess these capabilities, but these remain largely undeveloped by most humans. Extraterrestrial biological entities are more developed or advanced than humans in a number of respects, but are not superior to humans as beings. Our point of unity and equality with extraterrestrial biological entities is in our mutual existence as conscious, intelligent beings. While these various extraterrestrial biological entities may have values and priorities which are different from those of some 20th century humans, their motives and ultimate intentions are non-hostile and do not include the acquisition or subjugation of the Earth or its people. See below the question of intent. The establishing of a lasting world peace and a just and effective world government is essential to the long-term extraterrestrial intelligence-human relationship. The question of intent. While not minimizing the strange and startling aspects of this phenomenon which some humans have experienced, our assessment of these visitors' motives and ultimate intentions is that they are decidedly non-hostile. Their primary operations and activities center around general reconnaissance of Earth and her societies, military, especially nuclear, observation and assessment, human social and psychological study and observation, human medical, physiological, and genetic research and observation, observation and assessment of human mental and spiritual development, Earth ecology research and documentation, including documentation of Earth life systems and mineral, plant, and animal specimens, observation of human technology and technological developments, observation, active monitoring, and if necessary, limitation of human space programs, particularly those directed towards the nationalistic colonization of space. Close and active monitoring of international conflicts and international relations. Careful interaction with humans to convey certain information about themselves and to accustom humans to their presence. Our assessment is that these activities are derived from several ultimate motives, which include 1. Pure study and research of a rapidly developing intelligent species, human, during a time of transition to a world community. 2. A needed increase in extraterrestrial intelligence knowledge of world societies and human nature preparatory to future significant interaction, which will be mutual in nature, and which will eventually culminate in the introduction of Earth civilization into an interplanetary network. This may require several centuries to complete. 3. Preparatory activities for continued readiness in the event that intervention is required during a major world emergency, such as a large-scale nuclear war. Such interventions would be in the protective form of A. Interception and destruction of intercontinental ballistic missiles, ICBMs. B. Alteration of missile coordinates and readiness. C. Emergency Earth-based activities when and where warranted. The minimum intervention necessary would be used, with the intention being the preservation of Earth as an inhabitable planet, with adequate human resources remaining to sustain intelligent life here. 4. Emergency intervention in the event of an environmental or geological catastrophe of worldwide dimensions. 5. Preservation of Earth species, including human genetic preservation and/or augmentation as a precaution in the event of a worst-case scenario. See above. 6. Protection of space from hostile or military utilization by human national interests. 7. Extraterrestrial intelligence self-protective interests, insofar as humans have a strong recent history of coupling marked aggressiveness with rapid technological development. In this setting, monitoring and perhaps even limiting human capabilities may be important to extraterrestrial intelligence security. Human evolution to world peace, non-aggression, and a world government would remove this motive as well as several of the motives listed above. 8. Extraterrestrial intelligence short and long-time goals related to the attainment of a significant human paradigm shift from one of fragmentation and separation to one of unity, to include the unity of science and religion, world political and eventual spiritual unity, and universal unity. This paradigm shift is dependent on the development of human consciousness, which is of particular interest to extraterrestrial intelligence. 9. The preservation and advancement of intelligent life in the universe.
The French TV show Striptease was a series of short documentaries that aired in the 90s. Each episode portrayed the everyday life of an outcast, no matter who they were. Most of the time, they were mentally ill people, drug addicts, family with normal issues, someone with a weird habit and hobbies, etc. They are often people from the French countryside, where they're treated as the crazy ones of the small village that nobody knows about except the people living here. The local nutsies, if you will. The show never tried to make it sensational. No music, no jump cuts, no editing, no intervention or words from the film crew. Just bare-bone footage of what's happening in these people's lives. In 1993 aired a particular episode that still stands out to this day. It is called La Soucoupe et le Perroquet, which can be translated as The Flying Saucer and the Parrot. This episode focuses on Jean-Claude Ladra, a 50-year-old man living with his 80-year-old mother, Suzanne Ladra. They both live in the same house and survive on the mother's retirement money and the few bucks they make by selling vine leeks. During the documentary, Jean-Claude explains to his mother that aliens do exist and live in the 4th dimension, whereas US humans only live in the 3rd dimension. And Jean-Claude is building a flying device in his backyard that can reach the 4th dimension to meet aliens. Jean-Claude's spaceship is shaped like a dome and empty on the inside, kind of like an igloo. It is a few meters wide and about 2 meters high. It is mostly made of wood, reused materials, nails, and a few windows he glued with bathroom sealant. There's a door on the side that opens like a hatchback. Inside there isn't much. Only a few things on the grounds, a bed, and the most interesting thing here, the device that will allow Jean-Claude to travel to the 4th dimension. The device is made of 2 parts. The first one is this sort of sphere made out of paper journal and copper wires. The overall shape is molded and covered in glue and paper journals. Jean-Claude shows to the camera how he installs the copper wires on it. He shaped them as little squares to fill the whole surface inside the orb. He says this object is what will make him travel to the 4th dimension. Jean-Claude says it works with fluid rotation inside the sphere. When he is going to the 4th dimension, the fluids rotate a certain way inside the paper journal sphere, and when he will come back to the 3rd dimension, the fluids will rotate the opposite way. He does not elaborate further in the documentary on the functioning of the device, or what the fluids could be. While bending the copper wires, he tells his mom he doesn't want to explain too much about the system so that the government doesn't try to intimidate her to get information. The second part of the device is the control panel. It is showed to the cameraman by Suzanne while Jean-Claude wasn't there. She goes inside the spaceship and takes out this piece of wood. On the back, is it covered in wires and electrical outlets. On the front, there are a few switches and a cross. This crucifix is welded on the piece of wood and is what Jean-Claude will use to control the movements of the spaceship. Suzanne then proceeds to tell the cameraman that Jean-Claude will just put his hand above the crucifix and tilt it in the direction where he wants to go. She said it works, paranormal, with his mind. She also states that the Earth is triangular shaped and not round, but doesn't elaborate. She then shows the tree they cut down so it doesn't get in the way of the spaceship when Jean-Claude launches it towards the Bermuda Triangle. And what about the parrot from the title The Flying Saucer and the Parrot? Well, Suzanne used to have a parrot. The 80-year-old woman tells the cameraman the whole story of that bird, how she had it for years, how she was known for having such a special bird, how she taught it how to talk, how it chose its favorite chocolate from the box, how it died by getting stomped on by her horse, and how she kept it rotting in a box 20 years after its death. She says that birds are one of the things she loved the most on Earth, and she wanted to keep it. She wrote her last wishes on the back of a postcard with a parrot on it, and it says, "When I die, bury me with my bird." This is the only thing she asked for her will. Where are they now? Well, first of all, Suzanne died in 1999. It is not known if her last wish to be buried with her parrot was fulfilled. Jean-Claude continued to work a bit on his spaceship, which became famous overnight thanks to the documentary. He then abandoned the project, which was still a famous attraction for the people who came in the village, but the city decided to move it in a public space in order to let the neighbors have some peace. Unfortunately, it already started to fall apart, and when they tried to move it, most of it broke down. It is unknown what remains of the spaceship and where it is to this day. In 2007, Jean-Claude was found guilty of sexual crimes that led to a sentence of 10 years in prison. A journalist then interviewed Jean-Claude and wrote a book about his story. In the book, he shares his experience with his first spaceship he ever built, the one before the one in the documentary, where he drifted away in the Atlantic Ocean for 91 days.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check the Odyssey and Rumble pages for separate archives of previous broadcasts.
Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hi/X/. I got a story to tell you guys today. This happened to me years ago, and I've never had someone to really talk to about all of this. I've always been in /X/file, but always had doubts if I should post this here or not. But recently, things happened that made me change my mind, so here we are. I hope you guys enjoy it. Be me. Be Brazilian. Just finished school, and after studying a lot and through some miracle of luck, managed to get into a good public university in my state, although not in the course I wanted. Be sad because I wanted to study something else, but it is what it is. In uni, most people are self-indulgent normies who only think about the usual things normies think these days. Instagram, Twitter, the latest American issue imported to the Brazilian political debate, pronouns. Be at the uni library one day, looking at the books they have on the history and sociology section. Lots of books about religion and occultism here, covering everything from African folk religion to ancient mystery cults. This piques my interest, and I begin to spend my time reading these instead of the course's subjects. This goes on for weeks. During this time, a guy came up and began talking to me. He introduced himself as N, a cool dude, albeit a little strange. Had this slumped eye which was really noteworthy on his face, and walked as if he was always slightly off balance. He also had a string on his neck that seemed to hold some kind of necklace, although I never saw what the necklace was exactly. He and I shared an interest in occultism, although he was clearly way more knowledgeable in the matter than me. In all conversations we had, he led the subject, and I always came out of them knowing things I would never imagine or probably even find in the library books. He tells me the library is cool and has lots of resources, but some things are simply not available in places like this and that. To know the real truths, I needed to go beyond that. I asked him what he meant by this, and he said that, if I wanted, he could show me some special books he had that showed the truth of things. I asked if he was talking about things like the Lesser Key of Solomon or dogmas and rituals of high magic, some books I already knew from the occultist phenomena, or even the Book of St. Cyprian, a very popular grimoire here in Brazil said to have mainly metamorphosis powers, but he said those books were nothing compared to the things he had read. Curious, I agreed to his proposal, and he invited me to go to his home that weekend. When I arrived there on a Saturday afternoon, it was a normal middle-class house in a small and unremarkable neighborhood. He welcomed me inside and explained that his mother was asleep, so we should not make much noise. The house was pretty silent and somewhat cold and dark, even though the day outside was very sunny. Most windows were shut, and this gave the house a very still feeling. He took me to his room, which was on the back of the house. When we entered, I saw that it was also very dark, with only a small sliver of light entering from a crack in the curtains. It was a pretty unremarkable room, quite small, painted white and with the standard furniture you would expect. What really caught my attention was the 3 bookshelves spread through the walls filled with books. When I say filled, I do mean filled to the brim with the things, to the point that some books were in front of others and piled up in a disorderly manner to make up space for the things. He smiled at my astonishment and began talking about how his grandfather was a collector of books and how the custom must have rubbed off on him, although not on his own father. He told me that when his grandpa died, he left a chest with lots of special old books to him. Apparently, he was also big on the occult and had some materials from the Imperial Times that once belonged to the church and detailed many obscure occult practices. I asked to see one of them, and he went to the foot of his bed, where a large wooden chest with a sturdy-looking lock rested. He pulled up the string from his neck, and I saw that the necklace was just a key, a very old-looking iron key made to look like a cross. When he opens the chest, I can see a lot of leather-bound books without any covers, just different shades of brown, black, and red. There's not even titles on the covers, and the material seems very old. Like just by looking at them, I get scared that they might turn to sand or something. He carefully picks one of the books and lays it gently atop his computer table. The tome is heavy and thick, and when he opens it, I can see the yellowed pages. The first page of the book has a religious picture and something written in Latin. He explains to me that it is the Creed prayer. Apparently, the priest who wrote these books made them like this to prevent them falling into wrong hands or something. Luckily, the rest of the book isn't in Latin, but in old-school Portuguese, which, although somewhat difficult to read, isn't impossible to someone who isn't monkey-brained. The book seems to be a study of some finer points of Goetia, containing lists of demons, astrological tables for summoning hours, procedures for rituals, and the like. It's a very complete and complex volume, apparently, with hundreds of pages going into the specifics of how to summon demons, elementals, and spirits, and making sure they don't fuck you up. He explains to me that, while this book has the how-to one needs to summon demons, the real jewel is the more theoretical works that explain the worldview you need to have to first be able to make the rituals at all, and then not be consumed by the creatures. I listened to his lecture with great interest, although admittedly I always had a rough time with these right state of mind ideas. Always seemed like religious crap to me, and since I left the church early, my cynicism was very strong in regards to these things. My interest is mainly in the fact that these books seem the real legit deal, and so if there is something capable of summoning the supernatural, that should be it. I asked them if we could summon something with those books. Since he had them for so long, he probably knew how to use them, right? He tells me that he received them just last year, and that he didn't believe himself ready to do a summoning yet. His state of mind wasn't prepared for it. He wasn't pure enough, etc. I insisted with him over and over, trying to convince him that we should do it. I even asked once if he had already seen or summoned something at all to know if they work. He says he tried once, but it didn't work out that well, which is why he's dedicating himself to the theoretical studies more before doing anything else. Maybe I should have asked what went wrong, but I was so interested in testing the supernatural that I didn't bother, instead going back to pestering him about trying some rituals. The rest of the afternoon was divided between we talking about occultism and me trying to get him to do a ritual. He didn't budge the entire time, but I wasn't going to let this opportunity slide without a fight. So when we said our goodbyes by the end of the day, I promised myself I wouldn't stop until I had convinced him to try a ritual. During the next few weeks, I insist progressively more on him to try something. He tries to hook me into his theoretical study ideas, saying that if I summoned something without the proper preparation, something bad would happen. But I insist that if we followed just the grimoires, everything would be fine. This goes on for almost a month until finally, he gives in, telling me that I had won and that he believed he could pull the weight of us both in a ritual with his knowledge, but that I would have to do everything he said. I agree, and we decide to try summoning an air elemental in his backyard. He says he won't summon any demons because that is asking for trouble. He also asked me to purify myself for a month before we did the summoning, trying to eat less meat, avoid pornography, ire, and other sins, as this could screw up the ritual. Can't say I did much effort into that department. We wait for a day when his parents won't be home for the night. It's a July night. His parents are away at a party and we can begin our work. I won't explain the ritual with details to you guys because I don't think the average /X/Philae has the sense to practice this without getting fucked. But what I can say is that we spent a good time making circles and sigils in the dirt of his backyard, as well as arranging candles and some other ritualistic tools. Before the ritual began, he asked me to join him in a prayer for protection and purification. He had already asked me to bathe profusely before coming to his house tonight, and frankly, I was getting tired of all this purification shit, but I followed with his orders because I had promised to. Once everything was set up, we began the summoning ritual. Now, most people believe that you have to sacrifice living creatures to get a supernatural being to come to you. That isn't always the case. You can also make the offer of food and drink, and some spirits accept that. Only more demanding creatures will require a living sacrifice to manifest themselves. So we did that. We got some meat, fruits, and wine together and offered it to the elemental. I was mainly repeating what my friend said as he had more experience, but I had difficulty pronouncing the Latin incantations used to bring the creature forth. We chanted for a long while. It seemed like an entire hour, and the cold wind of the night only made it worse. It was a dark night, and there seemed to be no stars above. Even the neighborhood seemed more silent than normal. It seemed that we were wholly alone. It was then that I heard and felt a strong gust of wind, completely out of nowhere. It was as if some giant had begun blowing upon us with terrible strength. My clothes began to be pulled violently. The pages of the grimoire in N's hand began to flap wildly, interrupting him mid-chant, and some clothes that were hung in the backyard flew off. I almost fell because of the surprise and force of the wind, but I did my best to stay up. N had told me not to leave the circle under any circumstances. I tried asking him what was happening, but I found myself unable to beat the gust of wind that now dominated the backyard. I gazed upon him, and he seemed to be still chanting the ritual from memory, as he could no longer read from the book, which was now being violated by the terrible wind. It was a terrible and terrifying situation. I felt my legs and whole body shake, not from the cold of the night wind, but from the fear that we had messed with something beyond us and found what we searched for. I don't know for how long the violent gust lasted, but it felt like hours. Terrible, long, and cold hours. Then it died down. The violent gust slowly became more like a breeze, a tremendously good breeze, yes, but still a breeze. No more that violent tornado-like gust of hell. I could now hear my friend chanting again, but his voice was also dying down. I looked at him and saw that he had stopped chanting. I asked him what had happened, but he just raised his hand and shooed me, closing his eyes and raising his head as if trying to hear something. I got confused for a second, until I began to hear very faint whispers coming from all around us, as if we were suddenly in the midst of a whispering crowd. I looked around, but there was nothing to see, except the clothes on the strings that were still faintly moving, giving the illusion that something was there. The whispers continued, and I couldn't make sense of them. They seemed to be asking something, but I couldn't even make out what kind of language they were speaking. They just sounded vaguely cohesive, like when you are drifting off to sleep and you hear people in your house, but you can't understand what they are talking about. I felt once again a terrible cold and a sensation of my legs shaking, but this was now an internal cold, the kind of thing you feel when you think you screwed up real bad. I don't know if this was because of the whispers, but I felt like something or some things were looking at us, as if we had summoned a whole gaggle of undead spirits that would now haunt us forever. It felt like forever, but eventually my friend began speaking, but it felt as if he wasn't talking to me. I had difficulty making up what he was saying because the wind seemed to be stronger around him, as if he was becoming the eye of the storm. This went on for a while, until finally, after I had shat enough bricks, the wind seemed to die down again and he opened his eyes. The feeling of being observed went away with it. He told me to chant with him a finishing prayer to make sure the elemental went away, and I concurred, although I stuttered somewhat while saying the Latin words. Afterwards, we quickly disassembled the ritual preparations, and I noticed that the wine had vanished from the bottle, which was now empty. We went into his house and turned all the lights on. We both were visibly shaken from the experience, and I asked him what had happened during the ritual. He explained that we had managed to summon some wind elemental, but that it was too violent and powerful to be the one specified in the ritual. He said the elemental didn't answer to the name in the book, and thus he had to use a different closing incantation to get rid of it, as he didn't know the name of what he was talking to. I felt as if a cube of ice had materialized in my stomach. I asked him if the creature had gone away for sure, to which he looked at me with a not very trusty face and said, "Maybe you never know for sure with these things." After that, we parted ways. I called an Uber to go back home since I didn't want to get mugged. He had offered me to stay at his home, but after the experience, I decided I didn't want to go back there for a while. I managed to fall asleep pretty quickly. I didn't notice how tired I was until I laid down, but I didn't sleep well that night. I can't remember exactly why, but I feel like I had terrible dreams during that whole night. When I woke up the next day, I still felt weirded out by all that had happened. I didn't have enough time to process what happened last night because I was just so tired when I got home. But now that I was awake again, I began to think just how crazy the entire thing was, where a normal person would have their curiosity satisfied or be fearful that something bad may happen. The event only made my desire to know more grow, and I quickly picked up my phone and texted N to talk about yesterday. The conversation dragged on. He was taking his sweet time to answer my texts. I felt at the time that he probably was tired after the whole ordeal the previous night. I for sure was. He seemed as impressed as me that it actually had worked and neither of us had died, so I convinced him that we should try with a demon next time. He said that he would think about it and recommended to me again that I should read theory to better my abilities. I told him I would next time I went to his home, without any intention of actually doing it. The next few weeks I spent a lot of time going to his home, not to study theory, but instead to learn more about the rituals to invoke demons, which were way more complicated. We decided that if we were going to summon a demon, we might as well try to summon one that would help us with our grades in college, since we had been skipping a lot of classes to study the occult, and it was beginning to take a toll on our grades. After going through many names in his books, we decided to summon Glacia Labolas, who, amongst other things, is capable of teaching the arts and sciences. We waited again for the adequate astrological moment, and he stressed again that I should purify myself, this time especially because we were going to deal with a demon, and thus purity and strength were necessary. I was very tired those days, and I believed it was because of having to juggle between college and the occult, so I started going less and less to college, and spending more time sleeping or studying the rituals with him. I even convinced him to allow me to copy some pages of the book and take it back home with me for further study. The day finally came and we were ready. It was another night, but this time he insisted we shouldn't do it near his house, so we gave our parents the excuse of going to a party and instead gathered our things and went to an abandoned terrain in the farther part of the neighborhood. To prevent someone recognizing us, we wore coats with hoods to hide our faces. It was still a very scary situation, since it was late at night and the two of us could be mugged. We hoped that the appearance of Satanists we surely gave off would scare away any criminals. When we get there, we quickly begin to prepare the terrain for the summoning again. This time it's a lot more work, and the air is just as cold as the time we summoned the elemental. The terrain is very dark. The only light source is from an old lamppost on the street, its yellow light shining meekly upon the dirt and grass of the abandoned terrain. Once everything is ready, we get inside the circle and begin to chant the invocation in Latin. I fared way better this time, having trained extensively for it, but I was still somewhat afraid. N seemed to be so too, although he didn't stutter. I could hear in his voice the hints of fear. It was difficult for me to judge if the cold I felt was because of the night or the fear. Unlike last time, there was no amazing gust of wind during our chants. Instead, we went on chanting and chanting for what seemed like almost an hour without a response. That was when we noticed the silence. When we arrived at the terrain, we could hear all the usual city night sounds: dogs, cats, cars, insects, and people in their homes. The things that you grow accustomed to so much you don't even notice anymore. But you can still notice their absence like we were now. We couldn't even hear the wind. Despite the surprise and the ominous feeling it brought, we carried on with the summoning, repeating the chants over and over and over again. As time went on, we began to notice the temperature dropping, first slightly, then sharply, until I almost couldn't contain my teeth clattering. It was around then that I noticed from the corner of my eye a figure moving about the darkness to our left.
I know that I too have had my heart broken many times. You women can be pretty evil. But if you really want to hang out, I'm the one to be chilling with, not the guy over there.
Jerusha, is it true that you died of a broken heart? What's my name? What's my name? Jerusha, do you want to do something? Behind you? I just heard a voice say behind you. Very dark voice through this say behind you. While doing this spirit box session, I began to make an unexpected discovery. I'm hearing what sounds like two different spirits speaking back and forth. A deep, raspy man's voice and the same female voice that just called my name. Behind you? Behind you? Behind you?
Would you like me to tell you a poem or something? Roses are red, violets are blue. Why don't you come over here and lay next to me? It's a poem, made it up. I just heard footsteps and shuffling sounds right over here. Body chills going up my legs right now.
Somebody put two hands on their legs. I felt like I was being teased. I wanted more. Nearly 200 years ago in this very building, a beautiful woman died of a broken heart. As I lay in her old bedroom, I am beginning to feel her presence. Meanwhile, our audio-visual tech, Billy Tolley, is monitoring the action from a van outside the inn. Nick is downstairs taking photos with our infrared digital still camera, while Aaron is alone in room 10.
I just heard footsteps and shuffling sounds right over here. And shuffling sounds right over here. Body chills going up my legs right now. Wait, are you touching me?
Is that you, Jerusha? What? Again, I hear the same two voices talking to each other. The man with the raspy voice and the female who called my name earlier. The man says something 3 times, but I can only make out the second part when he asks the female spirit what she wants. See if you can make out the rest. Is that you, Jerusha? What? Whoa. I saw something over here. My legs are tingling right now. Jerusha, are you in here?
What kind of man were you waiting for? You were just sitting here waiting for a seaman, huh? That's a guy from the sea that's probably military or boater. Not what you're thinking. Oh, it gets me every time.
I just felt my legs started tingling. Now it's gone. All right, I just wanted to mark and stop the spirit box. I saw something over here, and then that's when something
I can't say like in between my legs, but somebody put 2 hands on their legs. What I didn't know yet was what we captured on our full spectrum camera just moments before this. The tingling sensation I described, which felt like 2 hands on my knees, happened in this exact spot where this unexplained mist figure manifested.
There's a man laying in his bed all alone. I've offered to hold you, I've offered to, even offered a kiss. Hell, I brought you chocolates.
At this moment, Billy hears an unexplained voice captured on the digital recorder hanging from the ceiling above Aaron in room 10. And it sounds like a female responding to him.
Even offered a kiss. Hell, I brought you chocolates. Hopefully I got some luck.
Can you do me a favor and touch a part of my body right now? Wow. I just felt 2 taps on my right leg, like on my calf, right here. I felt that, Jerusha. I felt 2 taps on my leg, and I just heard my belt creak. I don't want you thinking that I came here laying in the bed for some kind of a, booty call. I just wanted to experience what all these letters in here have experienced. I wanted to see and feel that for myself, because this is my passion. I want to get to as close as the spirit world as I can while I'm alive, to see where we go next, and to see if you can still love on the other side. Happy Valentine's Day. Well, that was a crazy night.
Especially for you two. Tell me what happened in room 9 and 10.
I remember going into the room and, I wanted to hear her voice. Let's start with some conversation. Let's not get right into it.
It's a good way to set the mood.
And as soon as I started saying Jerusha, I started hearing a female voice. I even heard my name. What's my name? Later that night, I felt like my legs were being tickled. I visualized a woman leaning over, putting 2 hands on top of my legs, and
It's awkward just listening to you say it.
And in a sick, weird way, I was really, really intrigued by it. You felt that in room 10 too?
Yeah, when I was in room 10, I was laying there because, I don't know, I was kind of telling her, like, I've had a broken heart just like you, and just kind of relating to her. I too have had my heart broken many times. And all of a sudden it got really weird, and I could feel like a sensation going up both legs all the way to like right here.
That's what I felt.
And I was waiting for keep going, but it was like it didn't.
A tease.
Yeah, it was like a tease, but then but I've never felt that. And it wasn't like it was like a cold chill, but it was random how everything worked out exactly how I asked.
It was a very loving feeling. I didn't want to leave the room. I felt like I was being teased. And in all honesty, I wanted more. I want to write my letter, and I feel like just by last night at the lockdown, my letter's not complete.
Maybe you got a ghost fetish.
Well, I know that we're not leaving till tomorrow, so guys, I'm staying in room 9 tonight.
You serious? You
And
going back there?
Those cameras aren't allowed.
Damn.
This time, no cameras.
Good luck, man.
As paranormal investigators, we encounter all kinds of evil entities, but there are countless spirits in this world who do not wish to frighten or cause harm, but rather show affection. I came to the Wayside Inn to court the lonely spirit of Jerusha. I felt her presence during our lockdown, but if you want to know what happened my second night here, well, you'll just have to find my letter in room 9.
The
emotions of somebody else.
Last name. Bishop!
May you be blessed on this night. You're gonna need it.
My name is Zach Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. You wanted us, you got us. So I set out on a quest to capture what I once saw onto video. With no big camera crews following us around, I am joined only by my fellow investigator Nick Groff and our equipment tech Aaron Goodwin. The three of us will travel to some of the most highly active paranormal locations where we will spend an entire night being locked down from dusk until dawn.
You have reached your final destination. Hell.
Raw. Extreme.
Stop! Stop running!
These are our ghost adventures.
We're about to step back into 1692 and explore one of the biggest travesties of justice to ever take place.
Between June and September of 1692, 19 men and women were accused of witchcraft and were executed by hanging.
And tonight, we'll see what we stir up in this cauldron of dark history.
Founded in 1626, Salem, Massachusetts was among the first settlements in the New World. So how did this community of hard-working, God-fearing people erupt in a crucible of murderous rage? It's the question we're here to answer.
The witch trials of Salem are a stain on the United States of America. We weren't the U.S. in 1692 yet, but that is a stain on this land forever. The most important thing to me about the story of Salem is that we never forget what happened, because it's happened again. Joe McCarthy, accusing people of being communists in the 50s.
Right.
Terrorists in modern time, calling people a terrorist. It's a witch hunt, you know?
Just a different topic, but the same premise.
Exactly the same. And this story can still teach us that lesson.
Right.
People die over it.
When you get into Salem, you like enter in this little bubble. And the bubble contains its own energy. It's a different sense here. It's a different feeling.
It has its own mystique, doesn't it? If you look at how old this area is, how long it's been settled, how much nefarious activity went on. A lot of energy has been trapped here if it met its demise in certain volatiles.
Exactly. This man knows what he's talking about. I'm glad we met you. Yeah, you are a grave digger.
Our mission tonight is to communicate with the wrongfully executed souls who fell victim to the raging paranoia that swept through Salem. From our investigation, you'll get a sense of the strange energy that still permeates this town.
How this all starts in the first place. It starts in the Paris household.
Betty Paris was the first. Reverend Samuel Paris's daughter. She was acting crazy. She was throwing fits. She was diving under furniture.
Dr. William Griggs, Salem's lone physician, was called upon to examine these strange symptoms.
The doctor checked her out and said, "There's nothing wrong with her medically as far as I can tell. It must be witchcraft. She's bewitched." Once that seed was planted, it grew fast.
Right.
Because the fields were ripe. Everybody was looking for it.
Soon, other girls began exhibiting similar symptoms. A local villager, Mary Sibley, approached the Paris family's servant, Tituba, and proposed a rather unique way to find out if the girls were truly bewitched.
What Mary Sibley instructs Tituba to do is to mix the girl's urine. You take the urine, you mix it with the flour, you bake it, you feed it to a dog. Yes, yes. You feed it to the dog, and then you watch the dog acting strangely, limping, crying out in pain.
They ate urine cake.
So,
oh my gosh, urine cake.
When Reverend Paris found out his servant Tituba was practicing this misunderstood form of folk magic, she was arrested on suspicion of witchcraft.
Here's the thing you have to remember. In 1692, Satan, the devil, was a real force here. They believed he was everywhere. So when someone said witchcraft, it was very believable. And so as soon as the accusations start to fly, Judge Corwin's checking it out.
So he just begins writing arrest warrants. And you can see where slowly this is taking shape.
It was hysteria. Hundreds were in prison.
These were called coffin cells. They would be kept in here for months at a time. And they were in the ground in the dungeon. And they say when the tide came in, that water and sewage and rats would go up to their knees, and they're forced to stand up, and that was a form of torture. I thought our lockdowns were bad.
Judge Jonathan Corwin and 4 other magistrates presided over the trials of 20 accused witches. A guilty verdict meant death by hanging. The first brought to trial was Bridget Bishop, a comely woman who was an easy target.
She was bawdy, she was voluptuous, she dressed in bright colors, she ran 2 taverns. All the men would flirt with her and all the wives didn't like her. Some of the accused were saying that Bridget Bishop's coming to them in their dreams. She's trying to possess them, bewitch them.
That was like you're talking about the devil.
You are in league with Satan. It's a big deal. You've signed his book. Your soul is at stake.
Shocked, I looked in that direction, and N did so too. We stopped chanting and gazed upon the darkness in silence. And from the darkness, something was gazing back at us. At first, you wouldn't be able to make them out of the general ink blackness, but once your eyes adjusted a little, you would notice it. There were 2 spaces amidst the dark which were darker than most, like new black ink in contrast to old faded painting. Once my eyes noticed that, I also noticed that a silhouette of something resembling a dog, but with a different anatomy, was also outlined in the dark, again by the same effect of the 2 spots. My stomach dropped when I noticed what it was. It was clearly gazing at us, but we couldn't make out anything except its rough outline and what should be its 2 eyes. Looking at it was unlike any other experience I ever had. It wasn't simply fear, like when I felt the elemental around us. It was abject terror, horror even. The feeling that I was looking at an unfathomable abyss, and that at any moment my soul could slip and fall into it to be forever lost. It was as if gazing into them transported my soul to a black and unending cold desert of abandon and fear. I had the distinct feeling that, even if I screamed until my vocal cords gave up, no one would hear me. The creature kept its eyes fixated on me for a long while, until N began to address it. This time I could hear them both talking. The exchange was more or less like this. "O Glaciolabalus, great Count of Hell, we have summoned you here and given you sacrifice, and now we request a boon in exchange." The creature's voice was something halfway between a human and a dog, half primal, half elegant and composed. Despite the paradoxical nature of its sound, I still could make out the words.
"Aspiring binders, how much courage must thou have to call upon my name in this night? And how much pride must grip thou hearts that you would request boons for such meager sacrifice? I feel no life in this flesh and no strength in this wine. This can pay for nothing."
Me and N looked at each other anxiously. The book had specified that this ritual didn't require living beings nor blood, but something was clearly wrong. I felt as if my legs were about to give way. "What do you desire then?" N asked the creature. From the darkness we could hear a growl that seemed too much like a laugh, and the weak light from the lamppost illuminated briefly what appeared to be a full mouth of canine teeth, which shone with a red luminescence, as if the light was reflecting on something red.
"I yearn for violence. End life in my name. Consecrate a corpse on the altar of brutality to me, and I shall ensure that your wish is attended to."
Me and N looked at each other. I saw in his face the same thing I was already thinking. Hell no. I just wanted to chant the banishment incantation right there and then, but N had warned me against it, saying that we would probably just anger the demon if we did it like that. So N told the demon we weren't going to take the deal. It was easier said than done, however, as the demon began trying to persuade us that it wasn't such a problem as we were making it out to be. He told us many things, like pointing out that we were already using a corpse to summon him, and that we could just kill another chicken or another kind of animal, no need for a human. Frankly, I felt somewhat tempted, especially when he told us that he could see a very miserable life for us if we rejected his offer, as there was no way we were fixing our grades that year without him. We hadn't even told him what we wanted yet, and the way he talked about it made me feel cold to the bone. We must have spent almost half an hour debating the merits of killing it with the demon, until the anxiety got the best of me and I said, a bit too loud, that we weren't taking any damn deal from him. I immediately regretted what I did, for the demon's gaze focused on me again. The same horrible sensations washed over me again, just this time mixed with a sense of anger and danger emanating from him. It was a strange sensation, because at the same time I also felt somewhat hypnotized, like in those movies where the prey is enchanted by the predator, and remains in a stupor even while it fears and knows its imminent death. Part of me knew that I was probably done so, even if I was still in the circle. I felt my legs trembling as if trying to move. "Don't look at it!" En screamed at me and pulled me closer to him in the circle. He then began chanting the prayer for banishment in Latin, and I quickly followed him as a terrible growl began to sound all around us, becoming louder and louder by the second. I couldn't look at the creature because of the way En held my face, but my eyes were fixed on the ground and I could see that the light coming from the street was now flickering, alternating the terrain between light and dark randomly. The air around us got extremely cold, to the point that I began being able to see my breath condensed in front of my eyes. The sudden change in temperature made my fingers hurt. Then we began to hear the barking, as if all the dogs in the city had appeared in the terrain and started barking at us with murderous intent. Those barks were terrible, the kind of thing you hear in your nightmares, and just by remembering them you feel scared. To this day I tremble when I recall the sound. It was something from another colder and darker world. Something with the primeval violence of the dogs, but with added traces of an evil no animal could ever possess. At one moment, I thought I saw the outline of a paw on the ground at the edge of my vision. I closed my eyes completely and wouldn't open them for all the money in the world. I knew that if I did so, I would regret it heavily. After what felt like hours, the barking stopped and the temperature went back to normal. En told me I could open my eyes, and when I did, I saw that we were still on the terrain. The lights had come back, and there was no dog to be seen. I looked at him and was about to ask what had happened, but his expression made me change my mind. He had a face that wouldn't feel much out of place on a corpse. He wasn't very white, but now he was pale, almost like milk. We left the circle and dismantled the setup quickly. While doing that, I noticed that the wine and food were intact. When I pointed it out to En, he looked at it without expression and told me to leave it. Better not to touch it at all. Part of me didn't want to go home and sleep tonight, not after all I had seen. The sounds and the images of the ritual were still coming back to my head, and I was sure I would have nightmares that night. But I also didn't want to spend time in his house. It also had a strange atmosphere, which I had been noticing the more time I spent with him. It was always cold and dark, even in the sunniest days. And frankly, staying there would probably only make me think more of all that happened. So I went back home, and En said he would contact me later tomorrow to talk about what happened, and we parted ways. All the way during my trip back home, and even when I got there, I couldn't shake the memories of what had happened and an incessant feeling that something was following me. Whenever I saw or heard a dog, I felt my heart skip a heartbeat, as if the creature was going to jump from the dark and attack me at any moment. It was a very rough night. Even with the lights on and listening to podcasts, I couldn't sleep. The fear and constant feeling that there was something watching wouldn't allow it. When I finally managed to pass out, I had horrible nightmares where a large black dog with wings hunted me through the streets of a city, biting bits of my flesh and barking at me. I woke up to the sound of my cell phone ringing, bathed in sweat and trembling from the nightmares. It was En. He told me that we needed to talk and that it would be better to do it in person. I agreed. We went to a cafeteria. I still hadn't eaten that day and was feeling sick, and apparently he was too, so we didn't eat anything, just drank some coffee to not get thrown out. The conversation wasn't a happy one. It was basically him saying that he was done with playing around with Goitia, especially with me. When I asked why, he said that I probably had messed something up, probably didn't purify myself adequately, and that's why the demon didn't obey us like he was meant to. I said he was full of crap, that he was leading the ritual, and if someone was to blame, it was probably him, not me. The discussion began to get worse and worse until we were almost screaming at each other, which was when the cafe's owner told us to shut up or he would throw us out of the establishment. I never felt so angry at him like then. I believe I could easily have jumped on N and punched him until his face was red. Why did he think he could talk to me like that? How could he say I was the culprit? If anyone was the culprit, it was probably him. Once outside, N, who was still looking tired from yesterday, looked at me in silence and said that if I was so good at that, maybe I would make better use of his grandpa's grimoire than him. I told him that I probably would, considering he's too much of a wuss to use it. Amazingly, N didn't react in an aggressive manner, just nodding his head and saying, "Come, I'll give it to you then." We went back to his house. His parents were around this time, and that must have been the third time I had ever seen the two of them together. They never talked much to me or N, though. He had told me that they were very absent. As usual, the house was cold and dark, but his room was very different. He had opened all the windows and allowed the sunlight in, changing the entire atmosphere. He quickly opened the chest and took the grimoire out of it, the one where we had found the ritual to summon the demon. "Here, take it. Choke on it for all I care. Maybe then you will learn to listen to me," he told me while holding it up to my face. The tone of his voice was still bitter. I got a bad feeling then, a small flash of sobriety in the storm of anger that had suddenly washed over us. I was fighting with what was probably the only friend I had in college, and over what? An old, dusty book that could ruin me. But this doubt quickly vanished as he shoved it at my face again, repeating for me to take it. I felt I could punch him right then and there, and so took it from his hands and walked away in silence. I didn't even say goodbye. With the book in my possession, I began to study the rituals alone. I was sure that I had done everything correctly and that the issue was N's obsession with purity and theory instead of focusing on practice. The months that followed were very rough as I became more and more obsessed with the book and its rituals, to the point I began skipping almost half of the college days to dedicate myself to studying the rituals. I had given up completely on the idea of studying for college and decided that the best plan would be to make a deal with another demon for knowledge. I believed that if instead of material gain such as wealth I asked for knowledge, I would be able to evade the usual end people have of losing everything one day. But I didn't have the courage to summon Labolas again. I still had nightmares about the whole ordeal, so I decided to try my luck with another demon. Luckily, there are many demons who grant knowledge. One of them is Buer, a president of hell in their hierarchy. It would be more difficult to do the ritual without N's knowledge. He had a veritable trove of occult materials and had been doing this for a while, whereas I was a complete soul initiate, but I was certain I would be able to manage, and then I could shove it on N's face. I decided that this time I would leave nothing to chance. So I borrowed some money from my parents without them knowing and bought everything I would need, including a live chicken for sacrifice. The most difficult part was the chicken. I had to hide it through an entire afternoon so my parents wouldn't ask about it. For that, I asked the guy who sold it to me to tie it up neatly so that it couldn't scream or move around. I put it on a big box and hid it on my room. I was so obsessed with doing it back then that it didn't bother me in the slightest to do that with the poor animal, even though in the past I had never been insensitive to the suffering of animals. That night I went to a crossroads in my neighborhood. Unlike the other nights, the air was mild, not cold, and the wind blew softly. In general, a much more pleasant atmosphere. This didn't help my anxiety, however. It was the third time I tried a summoning, but it would be the first time I would do it alone and involving live sacrifice. I was scared not only of what could go wrong, but of some hobo screwing me up or, God forbid, the police passing through and me getting into trouble. It took a lot more time to set up the circles and ritual apparel without N, but I was so obsessed with the work that I didn't stop once, not even when the chicken moved inside the bag I had brought it in. When all was done, I began the ritual. Again, I'm not going to explain how it was, but suffice to say that it involved killing the chicken and draining its blood. Just remembering what I did without thinking twice makes me sick. The poor animal was clearly terrified and shaking around, trying to free itself, while I did my thing without an ounce of compassion. Once it was all done and the sacrifice was ready, I began chanting for Boer. I chanted over and over, my voice growing louder with each repetition, as the initial shyness and fear was replaced with an ardent desire to see the creature and be granted my wish. I don't know how many times I repeated it, but at one moment I began to hear dogs howling and cats meowing, where before there was a sepulchral silence. This immediately scared me, as I thought Labolas was somehow being summoned. So I stopped the chant immediately and looked around. But the air wasn't cold like I remembered, and I didn't see the black dots like I had seen last time. Instead, my nostrils were assaulted by a wet smell, somewhat like what you feel when you go to the forest after a long rain. It was the odor of nature, savage and undisturbed wild. Then I began to hear some shuffling towards an abandoned terrain to my right. I turned my eyes there and saw something that almost killed me. I had seen the representations of Boer in the book before and found them quite silly, but it's completely different when you see something in person. The demon's form was something grotesque. I could make out the rough outline of a lion's head from the light that shone on the terrain. The creature, however, was still somewhat hidden in darkness, so it was difficult to be certain of its form, but I could make out goat legs around it, like the rays of the sun in old paintings, the lower hooves clapping about on the ground like some mockery of satyrs, and the upper ones dancing wildly on a savage and orgiastic primeval dance. The eyes of the creature, unlike those of Labolas, weren't dark. They shone like you normally see with cats in the dark, making it seem like two stars inhabited the lion head that now gazed upon me. The creature's appearance scared me, but it didn't feel like the same kind of fear that Labolas gave me. Back then, it was the fear that it would harm me out of evil, but here it was more like the feeling you have when you look at a wild animal and knows it could kill you out of instinct. The creature then spoke to me. It had a guttural voice, kinda like a lion's roar, and asked me what I wanted with him. I explained to him that I wanted the knowledge to get through my tests at college, and he gazed in silence at me for a while. I could swear I also heard him sniffing the air. At no moment he left the terrain or the darkness, although every now and then a part of his body would enter the light, and I would be able to see him better. It was a very tense situation, like when you are a kid and are face to face with a street dog. The two of you are quiet and you know that. If you make the smallest movement, he might attack you. But you also think that, if you stay put, he will jump you at any moment. After what felt like an eternity, the creature answered with a growl that he would grant me my wish. And then he walked back into the dark, melding into the cold, black nothing, until I couldn't make out his silhouette any longer. When it was all over, the air went back to normal and the peaceful silence returned to the world. I was trembling slightly and felt extremely tired after the experience. My head was pounding slightly and I just wanted to go home. But I felt like I had accomplished something that night. There was pride in me, for I had achieved what N had not. I had managed a deal with a demon. Of course, I was somewhat scared that it would backfire like it does so many times, but for the moment the pride and exhaustion took over most of my brain. So I just went back home and slept for the night. Amazingly, it was one of the best nights of sleep I ever had since the ritual with N, and probably in my entire life. I don't remember any dreams and woke up completely rested and full of energy. Later that week I had a test in college and I managed to get a grade high enough to compensate for my previous lacking in past months. The same thing happened to all the other end of semester tests. It appeared as if everything was going well. I entered my summer break feeling on top of life. I even contacted N to shove in his face how I managed to succeed where he had failed. N, however, didn't seem interested in talking to me. After picking up my first call, he simply blocked my number. During this period, I began to dedicate myself more and more to the study of the grimoire and using its rituals. I had many experiences with the supernatural during those times. I saw ghosts, other demons, had dreams which were prophetic, and received many revelations of secrets, both profane and holy. Some of these happenings were still scary. During this period, I started having sleep paralysis episodes, something that I never had before, and started seeing shadows in my house during the night, but nothing ever harmed me or my family, so I believed it was only a side effect of being more spiritually oriented now. I think the most noteworthy event during this period was when I contacted a demon called Vine, for I had read that he was capable of imparting knowledge of the true nature of social hierarchies, something I believe could help me a lot in life. The summoning was successful, and out of all the demons I saw, he was one of the most normal and even agreeable. I remember he had a distinct accent that seemed British, even when talking Portuguese. He told me much about the social classes, about how all riches are born out of sacrifice and how that heritage remains with them forever, how one must be ready to assume such a stigma to grow, and how greatness always requires tribute. I believed that I had managed to cheat reality somehow, but as I was about to find out, everything has a price. When college returned and I had another test, I noticed that I didn't have the wisdom of Bauer anymore, and so got completely fucked in the exam. This bummed me, but after thinking for a while, I came to the conclusion that my ritual didn't ensure knowledge for the whole life. The sacrifice was too small. Thus it followed that I would have to sacrifice something for him again. However, when I summoned the demon, he told me that he desired more than a simple chicken, that his hunger must be satiated if I desired the knowledge. Because of his demands, my sacrifices grew greater and greater, going from simple chickens to stray animals. That was probably the lowest point of my life, when I did things that I look back and think that if I met my former self nowadays, I would probably beat the shit out of me without an ounce of remorse. But it before fruits, and time and again I managed to get the needed grades to advance in college, despite not studying at all. As time went on, my situation began to deteriorate. Almost every night was tormented by nightmares, sounds in my room, shadows at the corner of my eyes, and sometimes the sounds of hooves on the roof of my house. This began to have an effect on my health. I began to get sick far more easily, and the lack of sleep made me highly irritable and unable to focus. It came to the point that all I could really do was study the rituals in the grimoire and browse the web, for I had no interest in anything else. It was about that time that N came to me again. We had stopped talking, but we still frequented the same college. He was now one semester behind me thanks to having failed his tests, but we still saw each other every now and then. Although we never spoke and made an active effort to ignore the other, he came to me one day when I was eating. The difference between us by then was notable. While I seemed more like a skeleton with perpetual dark circles on my eyes and my face always gazing down, he seemed to have recovered from his perpetually tired expression from back then. His slumped eye had almost gone back to normal, and his posture while walking seemed fixed. In general, he seemed way healthier than when we met. I expected him to pick up a fight, but to my surprise he spoke to me gently and without anger, something that confused me. After all, we had never made peace after what happened. We talked a long while after he managed to break the ice and reach me beyond the layer of fossilized anger and bitterness. I noticed that I had felt terribly lonely all those years and really missed him. I had no friends to talk to after losing him. We talked about our lives, and I quickly noticed that while mine was easy but without much to be proud of except the occultic practices, this was a lot harder but full of interesting events. He told me how he had to repeat most subjects in his first semester and almost lost his scholarship, but managed to pull through after much study, how he picked up writing as a hobby and dedicated himself more to his course, to the point that he never had problems with grades again. He shared many stories about the places where he was an intern the past years, the people he met, the problems he got into, and how he solved them. In general, it seemed like a month of his life had more things than my past years. When I told him about my life, he seemed genuinely concerned for me, saying that I should stop messing with the grimoire, that it was clearly screwing me up, and that I couldn't go on like that forever. We argued because of that, for while it was undeniable that my life had many problems ever since I began the rituals, I also had gained much and grew accustomed to it. The truth is that while I feared the demons, and for my eternity, I feared being left with no magical solutions anymore for my problems and losing the power and knowledge I had gained until then. I had the distinct feeling that, Should I stop doing the rituals, especially those for knowledge, I wouldn't be able to finish college at all. Part of me also felt resentment for the fact that N would come out on top if I turned my back on the rituals. I would basically be proving him right and saying that all my years doing rituals had been a waste. Because of this, our discussion.
Nothing shall stand in our way. Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Anyone who served in the military have some frightening stories, like overseas, after combat, or miscellaneous, so long as it's military related.
Be Me, 2001, stationed at Shaw Air Force Base outside Sumter, South Carolina. Be Explosive Ordnance Disposal Technician, out at Poinsett Range, clearing known unexploded ordnance. We had a Shootex and a pair of MK-82 general-purpose bombs, 500-pounders, failed to detonate. Go out with team, set up cameras to record disposal, set charges and spool out watching the detonation area. Technical Sergeant starts the count. Blast area clear, blast area clear. Fire in the hole, fire in the hole. Look up, see dude in the zone wearing all green. Not battle dress uniforms, fatigue-looking greens. Yell. Technical Sergeant looks up, sees him but has already fired. Date cord zips out, detonates. Hear this terrible scream, like cats fighting, amplified. Quick count, nobody missing from the team. Run down to the hole. Nothing there, no scraps, nothing. For those of you who have never seen and been near a large explosion, there's always something left if a person gets it. Blood, parts, uniform components, something. Rollback tape, audio picks up the screams, nothing on video. Security forces go out, search with dogs, don't find shit. Everyone goes back and gets shit-faced. I was never more glad to leave a base than I was a year later when I had permanent change of station to Nellis.
I don't know how scary this is. I mean, it's true in as much as I'm not lying or anything, but does it really mean that much? I don't know. A few years ago, 2008, I was stationed at Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. My usual off-duty routine was to go up to the Bra, a giant double canopy with a bunch of tables and benches under it, called the Bra because of how it looked. Play Fate on my laptop for a few hours, shoot the shit with some friends of mine, then go to bed around 10 or so. Well, on this night, they had set up a boxing ring in the Bra and were having what amounted to an anyone can fight tournament. It was pretty loud and had attracted a huge crowd. So I decided to find a quieter place to sit. I headed toward the chapel, since they had a lounge and I figured that would be a quiet place. The chapel was situated along a perimeter road. On the far side was a tall fence topped with barbed wire and a huge berm, essentially a wall of dirt. I saw a bright light on the other side of the fence, cresting the top of the berm. My first thought was headlights, but who would be driving around in the middle of the desert? I started to walk up the berm so I could see over the top of the fence. I realized I might be in a little trouble for climbing around on the berm. There was a nearby guard tower, but when I looked up there was nobody in it. The towers were in a series along the perimeter, about 250 meters apart. I didn't see any activity in any of the nearby towers, so I ran up the berm. I figured if anyone said anything, I'd say some of my papers blew up there or something. When I crossed the top of the berm, the light was brilliant, almost painful to look into. I couldn't make out anything for probably a click on either side. My job was supervising passenger unloading, loading, and processing on the flight line. I'd been doing that for around 6 years when this happened, and I'd been on flight lines around the world working with all different aircraft. I've never seen any kind of operation with lights like this, even on temporary landing strips. I realized that even if I couldn't see whoever or whatever was out there, they might be able to see me, so I ran back down the berm. I was probably up there for about 2 minutes. I went into the chapel and there were a couple of people emailing and chatting. I started to say something, or ask one of them to come back outside with me and see it too. But I chickened out. I didn't want to be the UFO guy. I sure as hell didn't want to spend any quality time with OSI, So I made it look like I was looking for somebody who wasn't there, and I left. I kept my ear open for anyone talking about seeing something unusual, but it seems I was the only one. So here are my questions. 1. What the hell did I see? 2. Why were the guard towers unmanned that night? I went back 2 nights later. I pretended I was jogging, and every tower had at least 2 personnel assigned. 3. Was the whole boxing tournament thing designed to pull the maximum number of people to the bra in order to keep people away from the perimeter road? Normally, it's a popular spot for exercise, and the darker corners attract couples looking for privacy. 4. Finally, a long shot. Was anyone else at Al Udeid Air Base that night who might have seen it? I've thought about posting this to forums, but I'm not sure I really want to attract too much attention or come off like some kind of kook. Nothing like this has ever happened to me before or since. I stayed in the Air Force another 4 years after this and separated without incident.
Back when I was in a small county town in Kansas, if you were on a country road driving, you would see a set of headlights up in the distance when you eventually got to them. They were gone also. When you would drive up to the small cemetery in the town, you see the lights. I'm not sure what it was, though.
Be Marine on a Marine Expeditionary Unit in South America. Live in tiny little berthing areas with all of the mortar section. Start talking about paranormal and stuff. Guatemalan dude in the mortar section says he knows some shit, does some ritual and makes a Ouija board. Dudes start playing with board. Leave because I'm Catholic. Mexican too, by the way. Big-ass mortar man has doubts. Asks the board for something that only a supernatural entity would know. It spells out Dad. Big guy freaks out, throws the board and leaves. Turns out dude's dad died like last night and left him a ton of money. End the session, lay everything down in a specific manner and go to chow. Everyone leaves. Come back, board moved to big guy's rack, but everything is in the exact same place. Everyone shits bricks. I can't remember, but a few more paranormal things happened. Sorry, I wasn't there. I left. Later. Meet up with a Guatemalan dude at the smoke deck. Hey man, be careful with that Ouija board stuff. It's not a game. Nah bro, I made all that shit up. I don't know any crazy rituals or have medicine man in my family. I made all that shit up because I'm Guatemalan and have an accent, and I knew those stupid gringos would fall for it because I'm foreign. This asshole's a 10 out of 10 troll. Light 2 Cuban cigars and smoke them, catch a mean buzz. Pinches gringos pendejos ja 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 ja. Go inside, play Ocarina of Time and rack out. Mortar section still all creeped out by the board.
I never served in the military. Went on a creepy-ass hunting trip with a few of them once. 17 years old, my dad, his 2 Army friends, and my cousin was on leave. Went for a weekend retreat of hunting, fishing, and camping. Set up camp in the middle of a clearing. Virginia wilderness, if anyone cares. Finish setting up camp, go to the stream and fish, and discuss where to go exploring. Dusk approaches. We have this tradition of going for a nightly woods walk and try to scare each other with stories and such. Been doing it since we were kids. Not gonna lie, I was a little anxious, but also very serene. If you ever go for extended hikes into the wilderness, you know what feeling I'm talking about. One of Dad's friends goes to take a piss, says he'll catch up. We walk for about 10 minutes, then realize we should stop and at least let him catch up. Another 5 minutes goes by. I'm a little worried, but my dad is cool, trusts the guy completely, and says how since he was a paratrooper, he knows the woods as good as the palm of his hand. A few minutes after we came jogging out of the bushes, a .357 revolver in hand. Says he was pissing and got the sense he wasn't alone. After he stopped, he waited and sure enough heard something in the leaves around him, circling him. Well, what was it? A bear? Mountain lion? Not sure, but if it was the biggest one living in these goddamn hills. Worried it might have followed him, so we head back to camp and don't see or hear anything, but get the "you're in my house now" vibe all the way back. Next morning we decided to go exploring, with a few guns just in case. See nothing odd until we get within a half mile of the trail we walked last night. I didn't want to get too close, but we were also curious. Get the same being watched feeling again. Then after a few minutes find the corpse of some animal, whatever killed it. Absolutely fucked it up. Its jaw and head was broken, disemboweled, limbs missing and scattered. Keep going north, finding dried blood splatter along the way. Get to the end of the tree line. After a bit of clearing is a cave, with some trees that at first glance appear to have fallen down around it. Friend's dad is like, "Hey Anon, go in it." I'm surrounded by gruff, older military guys, and being the runt, I had to prove myself. Creep towards it. Every step I realize this is probably a mistake, but I can't chump out. Get right in front of the cave. The trees in front appear to have been broken down like camouflage because all others around it are fine. Get that natural instinct telling you to just not do something, telling my not to set foot in that cave, pick up a few rocks, and start pelting them in there. Hear and kind of see something big shuffling around back there. Raise my rifle, but I'm convinced if I turn to run, it'll bite my ass. Fire a quick round off, followed by the weirdest, deep, guttural roar I've ever heard. I've heard all kinds of animals in the forest, and this didn't sound like any of them. If anything, it sounded like a messed up audio recording of a bunch of them and that raptor from Jurassic Park. Anon, back up to us now. Look behind and see all of them, rifles raised. Grown ass, military men. Guys who have seen combat and probably killed people are looking pale and scared shitless, which scares the shit out of me. Run back. Feel like I have sand in my legs and I can't move fast enough like a bad dream. We get in a single file line, don't say anything, and fast walk back to camp. Each of us had a round in the chamber. Something was definitely following us. When you're that scared, your adrenaline gives you superpowers and you hear, see, and smell things like you wouldn't believe. See a big silhouette about 30 yards away, taking big strides alongside and then past us. If I hadn't been looking that way, I wouldn't have missed it. My heart skips into my throat. Tries to tell my cousin, but he's like, "Just keep going forward, forget it," in a panicky voice. Start tossing shit into the trucks in no particular order. One of the guys took it upon himself to stand guard and just sort of marches around with a rifle. Get everything accounted for, jump into the cars like clowns at a circus, and go down a 30 miles per hour road doing 60. Get to our favorite diner we usually go to at the end of the trips, order lunch, and sit silently. I get up to use the bathroom, see my dad and the friend that dared me to go into the cave out by the car. Dad is chewing his ass out for doing that, and then says we don't say shit about this for the rest of the day, and especially not to the wives. Drive home. My cousin falls asleep. I pretend to, but really listen to the quiet mumbling about it because of course they're not going to not talk about it. Go around and say they've always heard rumors about stuff like this, but thought it was bullshit. Never go back to that spot again. Never go camping by myself ever again. Real shame because I used to love doing that, but now I'll be damned if I'm not the slightest bit uneasy going into the woods. The end.
Navy bro here, a rover watching a busted up barracks at a training command. Walk through a hatch to a ladder, well right at midnight. Lights dim as we walk further down from third to first deck until it's pitch black. On the first deck, this is pretty creepy .jpg. 3 doors, screw my life keycard won't open any. Door to the ladder well is locked. Just radio into the quarterdeck. Someone will come get us from the other side. Radio static. I'm sleep deprived. Friend asks if I heard a noise. Look out the door glass to the outside. See a girl and a Marine drill sergeant running. Turn to friends. Is that a drill instructor? Turn back to look a second later. No one to be seen. Dude, WTF. The card reader goes nuts and the door to black hallway opens. Power still out, mind you. Bail. Sprint down pitch black hallway with friend. Scratching noises in all locked rooms. Open the door to the quarterdeck.
Hell.
Get chewed out by the
more
chief.
deaths per square foot in any location we've ever been. I've heard 9,000 deaths.
9,000, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of trapped energy in this location right here.
There's been a few cases here of deaths that have been very suspicious.
Yeah.
And we're here to find answers not only for the guy who called us, but also maybe try and help the dead who are unrested, whose deaths may have been covered up and concealed. This hotel is creepy. When you walk in here, you just have that feeling as if you're being watched. We'll walk into a place, we'll clear our mind, we'll let the location reach out, and we will try and feel that energy. We'll try and feel that history. You can definitely feel some kind of aura, and you can definitely sense that there's been nearly 9,000 deaths through these hallways. It is a fact, though, that a lot of people do check out of here in the middle of the night, right?
I would say, yeah. No, it's a fact that people check out.
And check into a place like this, a building with 9,000 deaths. What's going on with these people? Not coming down to the front desk and taking a pen and writing word for word a police report, what happened to them. That's more untold stuff that we don't know about. Right. That's why we're here, to check ourselves in this hotel and find out whatever is scaring them to leave in the middle of the night has to happen to us. But we can't leave because we're going to be locked down. Whenever we do a lockdown, we like to reach out into the paranormal community, talk with you guys, learn from the other pros, and see if you guys got any good evidence. Have you guys gotten some stuff here?
Yes, we did.
Do you have anything to show us?
EVP.
I think we just figured out why people leave at the Jerome Grand Hotel in the middle of the night. Because they're hearing this. That's a creepy voice, guys.
We have another one called That Bastard Frank.
They called you a bastard?
Yes. I get name called all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Join the club. That bastard, yeah. Wow. Obviously, you're getting evidence to support the fact that there are some negative stuff here.
Because there's so many different spirits in this location.
Just like a good movie. You take a bunch of people and put them out in a nice, fun summer camp. Now, there's going to be a killer amongst them.
Exactly.
Jerome was once a prominent mining town, and the mining company always wielded its power at the hospital. The hospital's maintenance man was Claude Harvey, and what happened to him in 1935 is one of the Jerome Grand's biggest mysteries.
Hold on. Was there a murder here, Chris, that you're not
This is
telling
where
me
Claude was found killed.
Okay, is that why there's a chalk outline over there?
That's why you're looking at his chalk outline on the floor.
What happened to the rest of his upper torso?
Well,
where's his head?
That's what's in question. His head was underneath it. It came down and it actually was on top of his neck when they found him.
Did they ever do an autopsy?
They were not allowed to do any x-rays or any autopsies.
Why?
And that was part of the reason for thinking the mining company covered it up, maybe to get themselves out of any responsibility or liability.
Or did Claude see something as chief engineer that he wasn't supposed to see?
A lot of people thought that there was something else to the death of Claude Harvey, that maybe it wasn't an accident.
Claude apparently was found dead by means of a accident, right?
Right. They were not allowed to do an autopsy.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we found our mission for tonight, and I think I see why we were called here. Because we were going to try and communicate with Claude Harvey.
Zach, remember Axe Murder House?
Yeah.
Got that amazing EVP that came through, says, I killed 6 kids.
Rain comes every hour. Hey, Claude. We're here for you, bud. We're here to help you and expose any truth that may be hidden. A lot of people speculate it wasn't an accident. And that's why we were called here. To help you. All right, right now, we don't want you to try this at home. We are going to simulate what Claude would have saw.
He's the first one to do this?
He's the first one to attempt this.
If I lose my head, just, we have a staple gun out in the van. See if that works.
I feel like we're in
I'm selling it on eBay.
Oh, God. Go.
All right, Zach.
Holy.
You might want to move now.
What's that?
Get out.
Dude.
I couldn't see because I was looking at the monitor.
Nick, that was so close.
That was way too
I got all
close.
shook up.
You think it was just going to stop right above your head
Yeah, I
or
thought
something?
he was going to stop it. I didn't think he'd really let it go all the way. Holy.
You might want to move now.
What's that?
Get out.
As the elevator got closer and closer, it was hard to judge the depth through the viewfinder. So thank you, Chris, for saving my life.
Dude, the crazy part is we all just like panicked, and then we just stood there like there's nothing we could do.
You stood there. I was like,
Oh my God, dude.
Oh my God.
Jeez.
No, you can't even.
Oh, God. That would have been a bad start.
That would have
to
been the most
lockdown.
recent death in this hospital.
Would have been a cool way to go, though. People would flock over from all over the world to search for my ghost, you know?
You're crazy, Zach.
Yeah, I've heard that before, Chris. We just found out that this building right here is another hospital building in conjunction with the Jerome Grand Hotel. And there's a guy that actually works in this building. So we are going to see if he's here, if he will talk to us, and if he will let us investigate this building on top of the Jerome Grand Hotel.
This looks like House on the Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
I think that's him. Lonnie?
Yeah?
Hey, I'm Zach. Do you mind if we, can we come around and talk to you?
No, sure,
Okay.
go ahead.
How long have you been working here?
Just about 5 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Are you here a majority of the time by yourself?
Yeah.
You are?
Yeah.
Are you comfortable in the building? Go ahead, be
Most
honest.
of the time, no.
Be honest.
No.
I know, just
No.
tell us straight up, man. If
Okay,
there's...
during the day,
Yeah.
the restroom is at the other end of the building, down a hall, and I have to go past the morgue and the emergency room. I'll just say, excuse me, just going to the restroom. Excuse me, just going to the restroom.
It's kind of hard to pee after you cross those two things. Just be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little creepy down there.
I see you keep this door shut. It seems comfortable in here. It's renovated. You got pretty green paint here that the color is supposed to be nice and warm for the soul. But beyond this door, if I'm assuming correctly, leads into the entire building, right?
Yes. I don't venture into the building too often.
Why?
It creeps me out.
It does.
Yeah.
I really want to get behind this door. I feel like the little kid at Willy Wonka's waiting for that door to open up to the chocolate river and all that stuff in here. Can I? Why did you mention the word demonic?
We have had guests check out in the middle of the night. He hung himself off that big pipe.
About 2-3 years ago, he committed suicide.
Do you know what kind of suicide it was? If you want to see all kinds of behind-the-scenes material, our encounters videos, and Aaron's vlogs, come visit us at travelchannel.com.
Jerome, Arizona, and the Jerome Grand Hotel is full of darkness and death. Now, Lonnie Anderson, a furniture maker and the sole occupant of the former United Verde Hospital clubhouse building, feels that this place may be just as eerie.
Can I?
Please.
Okay. After you.
Right when you walk through that door, it just feels really heavy in here.
I think I'm gonna pull this closed.
Why are you closing the door, Lonnie?
Keeps my space pure.
Smart.
This is where the gentleman lived that was the maintenance man in the building.
Did he experience a lot of stuff?
A lot of stuff.
Did he?
Right inside the room here, he saw some guy walk right past, and he stuck his head out, and he saw the guy walk right through the doorway.
Was his personality ever, do you think, weird?
He'd been in a little bit of trouble, and was just trying to keep to himself.
Where's this guy at now?
Well, he had some problems.
Can we interview him, or is he?
Well, about 2-3 years ago, he committed suicide.
Wow.
So I think he's still floating around.
Do you know what kind of suicide it was?
The last death to happen inside the building happened in 1982.
1982? Who was he?
This guy's name was Manila Hoffbauer. A lot of people call him Hoff for short. And he was hired by the mining company.
Vanilla Hoff?
Manila. Manila.
Manila Wafer?
Hoffbauer.
Where?
Hoffbauer. He was a character. He was probably in his 50s and had been hired as the night watchman. And he ended up hanging himself in this back room. This is where he lived for about a year. He hung himself off that big pipe that's right above your head right there, Zach. He was mentioning that at nighttime he was seeing a lady inside this building. And it was about 2 weeks after that he was found hung in here. So a lot of people assume that it was because of what he was seeing in this building.
Led him to his death.
Led him to hang himself in this room.
We just talked to Chris, who told us about the maintenance guy.
Okay.
And they found him dead by suicide.
I haven't heard that story.
So now down here, you have the maintenance guy from this building.
Yeah.
Commits suicide too.
Yeah.
Is that kind of weird?
That's a little weird, yeah.
I just think it's very, very weird how these two stories are very, very similar. It's obvious the biggest element here that we can't ignore is the very weird coincidental stories with the maintenance guys.
So were these spirits did they have an effect on them taking their lives?
Weird coincidence? I don't think so.
Why are they committing suicide?
Well, that's why we're here to find out.
It can drive you to your own death, your own misery. We need to find out if that's happening here. And that first step is getting Lonnie and having him investigate with us, because I'm kind of worried about this guy.
Will you lock down with us, do an investigation with us? I want you to be here for this thing.
Yes.
Okay, and take part in it.
Yes.
When you come to a very haunted place with a haunted history, you can be around that energy a lot.
A couple of times I've brought something home. And
what do you mean you've brought something?
Well, something followed me, either from here or throughout the town. I'm not exactly sure, but...
Are you married or anything, or?
Yeah.
Okay, you know, sometimes spirits can do like a state of oppression to you, to where you're feeling their energy, you know what I mean?
Well, this has only happened a couple times for me, and then my wife said, you know, leave up at the shop, you know, in the building what's there. Don't bring it home.
What does she think about you working here? Does she like it?
As long as I stay in my shop, she's okay with it.
Is she gonna be okay with you doing an investigation with us?
Oh, yeah.
All right, right now, we talked to Lonnie. We're gonna see if we can talk to his wife, because we really want to get to the bottom and try and help Lonnie. Hi. Renee?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Zach.
Hi, Zach.
We talked to Lonnie earlier.
Okay.
Is Lonnie here?
Lonnie?
Did I just walk in her house?
Yeah.
Did you invite me in?
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Did you see that? Sorry. I just invited myself in your house.
Come on in.
Okay, cool.
Come on in.
I shook your hand. That was it.
Good to see you again, Lonnie.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to connect the dots here with these two guys that committed suicide, and them both talking about how many spirits that they were communicating with.
You know that if you live in this community, at some point you're going to be a part of it.
Of
It's
what?
just of the paranormal experience, whatever.
It's just
is
a part
going
of
to
this
take-
town.
Yes, and we've had a few really odd things happen even in the house.
What kind of stuff?
This used to be a butcher shop, and occasionally the butcher will walk up and down the hallway. We've also been unable to get downstairs because of whatever has been blocking us.
What do you mean blocking you?
You just couldn't get past from here to here. You just could not pass.
Wow. Is it more of a darker entity?
That's been a very dark experience. I've also been trapped down here where I've had to call him and say, I can't come upstairs. They won't let me.
They won't let you.
Yeah. There have been times where he has innocently brought stuff with him and you just you got to go back out. You've just got to go retrace your steps. So whatever it is that was following him or had attached itself to him couldn't get through the door. You just heard this thing slam right into the door.
And we asked him, and is it okay with you if he does an investigation with us?
I don't... In the building?
Yeah.
Have at it. Just don't bring him home.
Yeah.
After speaking to Renee and the dark energy of these two locations, we needed some positive energy. With Sedona and its famous mystical vortices just a short ride from Jerome, Lonnie hooked us up with his friend, a local psychic. She would help us validate the connection we made with the suicides.
I'm new to this, but these vortexes, is it something you can feel?
What they are places where there's spirals of energy that come up from the center of the earth in these areas.
Do these vortexes have anything to do with the spirit world?
Yes,
They
absolutely.
can. Do you think that Sedona being so close to Jerome may have something to do with how intense the spiritual activity is over there?
Yeah, they're very connected.
Wow. I feel like I'm kind of floating. It feels fresh. And I can just feel like all that bad stress and stuff just being kind of like just sucked out of you. You know what I mean?
It comes right out of you.
It was like a spiritual transfusion. Have you been to the location, the Jerome Grand Hotel,
Yes.
or the one where Lonnie works?
Yes.
What do you think about those places?
You could actually feel the energy of the spirits that are still there.
Did you encounter anything negative there?
Not so much negative, more sadness, more grief, more that kind of heavy, depressed kind of energy there.
Did you hear about the guy, Lonnie's friend, that committed suicide?
Yes.
Do you think there's any weird coincidental relationship between these two maintenance guys working at those buildings, both committing suicide, both before they did that, communicating with the spirits there?
Being in the buildings like they were doing maintenance, they were around that energy more than most people would be around it.
It started consuming them. And you think that may be one of the reasons that got to them?
I absolutely think
you
it's
do.
a reason, yeah, because they didn't know how to clear themselves and release it.
We came here with a purpose, and that purpose was to prepare ourselves for I think, a very intense investigation that we have coming just on the other side of this valley.
Just another day on the job for us. Ghost Adventures crew, here we go.
Welcome to our world, right, Nick?
Welcome to our world. Time to rock and roll. Whoa.
What is that?
What was that?
Come here.
It got cold. I feel a breeze right there.
What is this?
I don't know. There's a cold breeze, but it's really hot in this room.
Did somebody kill you, Claude? All right, we're just getting ready to begin our investigation at the Jerome Grand Hotel and also the second hospital building just down the hill. And because we have such a big lockdown, we've called in some help. Our good friend Gary Galka has created a lot of awesome equipment for us. The millimeters, the real-time EVP recorders, a lot of great stuff. And while we're in here locked down, we've got our audio-visual tech, Billy Tolley. He's gonna be in here with Chris, whose family owns the building. And you guys are gonna be watching us.
Yeah.
Billy's got 2 infrared cameras, also 2 full spectrum cameras that are gonna be running on a 4-camera grid here. So Billy, if you see anything while we're in here, correspond with us with those walkie-talkies. Involve Chris, show Chris what we're doing here. We're here to also help this guy. One last thing, we've got our shoulder mount cams. You're gonna see what our eyeballs are seeing. This isn't an infrared, this is just regular vision. So you're gonna see the darkness that we see, and a lot of times, Aaron, we see things out of our own eyes.
We do.
And we don't capture it on infrared.
But hopefully we can capture it on this now.
At various times, you'll see what we're seeing. All right, Bill, we're gonna get ready to lock down. You all set in there?
Copy that, let's do it.
It's dark right now. We're just getting ready to get locked down. At midnight, let us out, and then that's when we're gonna begin part 2 of our lockdown. Gary, let's do this.
Do it. Thanks.
Nick, Aaron, you guys ready?
Have a good one, you guys.
Okay. One of the suicides that happened right beyond this door was a maintenance guy where in 1982 he hung himself. The second part of our lockdown is the building just down the hill, the other hospital building. Another maintenance guy committed suicide just a couple of years ago. But the eerie connection is that both of them were revealing to other people that they were experiencing a lot of paranormal activity before their deaths. Let's get those lights off. We have a lot of work to do on this lockdown. I'm gonna run a thermal camera, which sees in temperature. It'll also pick up the hottest and the coldest point with these little crosshairs here. Gary Galkin actually created the real-time digital recorder that we use a lot. You're gonna be running that, right?
Full time.
Okay, and he's gonna be listening live through those earbuds. Okay. If you hear any voice that's not ours, speak up.
I'll flag it.
Got my flashlight on right now, but in a second I'm gonna turn this flashlight off and you're gonna see what I'm seeing through my shoulder cam. That's what I see, which is a whole lot of black space. Claude Harvey's his name, right, Nick?
Yeah, Claude. It's the guy who was killed at the elevator shaft.
Claude Harvey was the maintenance man who died in this very room under very mysterious circumstances. You in here, Claude? Come talk to us.
Watch out for your right side. You're gonna hit that. Is this where the elevator is? There's one of our cameras right there that's hooked up back to the station where Billy is watching.
Hey, Claude, is this the place where you passed? Was it an accident? Or was there foul play involved?
Did somebody kill you, Claude? Earlier, I laid in the same exact spot and almost had that elevator come down on me. What's that?
No!
Will you talk to us, Claude? Can you show yourself?
Whoa, 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 whoa.
What? What's up?
Marked at 30 minutes and 20 seconds. I saw some movement right there. It was really weird.
Just show what that is right there, that black.
This whole thing, this piece of machinery right here.
Yep.
Okay, move all around, Nick.
I didn't really move this far, though.
Go back.
I mean, this is where it was.
It's a reflection of you, I think.
What, off the pump?
Yo, yep, that's a reflection. This right here was, yeah, see, it's so dusty.
Yeah.
I was getting your reflection.
Right where my hand is, Claude, is where you died. With an estimated 9,000 deaths at the Jerome Grand Hotel, our investigation focuses on former maintenance worker Claude Harvey, whose brutal death in the elevator room leaves us searching for more answers. All right, right now, I have my recorder rolling right here. I'm not gonna touch it. We're gonna be absolutely still. I'm gonna see by getting in the elevator shaft where Claude actually died, if that will maybe spark some energy and get his attention. All right, Claude, I'm gonna crawl down here. The elevator's right above me. And after what happened earlier, I'm not real comfortable in here. Claude, we traveled really, really far, and a lot of preparation went in for us to be here. And we came here specifically to communicate with you and to try and help you. Right where my hand is, Claude, is where you died.
You're standing where his head would be, too.
I know, but
We just captured this EVP that has distinct female voice tones, yet none of us were hearing it with our own ears, which is very indicative of electronic voice phenomena.
You're standing where his head would be, too.
I know, but
Claude, if you're here, Zach can feel you. He's in the elevator shaft right now. Tell us what you want.
The same female voice just came again, and what's really interesting is she repeats the same first two words, as if she didn't have the energy to complete the message before, but now she does. And not only that, it's very clear, and this sounds like a trapped spirit needing help.
Tell us what you want.
All right, we just finished our first part lockdown over there at the hotel. Now we're at the second part lockdown. This is the big abandoned hospital. Are you ready to do this?
I'm scared, but I'm gonna go.
Lonnie is going to be locked down with us so we can try and give him more answers that he is seeking about what lies inside the rest of the building that he comes to work to every day.
I don't venture into the building too often.
Why?
It creeps me out.
It does.
Yeah.
Right now, we are going to do something we've never done before. We have 8 digital recorders. They're all throughout the entire building, all down to one audio signal. And you guys are going to be listening. You're going to be able to hear a mouse fart in this building.
Pretty much. Yeah, for sure.
Also, I am wearing a jacket that Gary just designed.
This jacket is wearable technology. It's got 8 different axes or 8 zones, 360-degree coverage of EMF, and it also detects temperature.
RoboZac.
RoboZac.
It's cold out here right now, but once I get inside the building, I push this button, I baseline it. Watch, I'm gonna make it hotter right now. Watch the red lights. Red indicates hot, blue indicates cold.
Yep, they're going up.
That means that's the hottest. So guys, as I'm walking around and if I feel those cold chills or goosebumps, look on my jacket to see if what I'm feeling can actually be documented by some type of energy. It's getting cold out here. Let's get inside. Gentlemen, we're all counting on you.
This is probably one of the biggest, most advanced lockdowns we've ever done.
It is. And don't forget, we have this whole place wired. Billy and Gary are outside in our van listening to every word I'm saying right now. Billy, Gary, you guys ready? How do things sound? And look.
Everything sounds great. You don't need to use the walkie-talkie because we can hear every word.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
Zach, you know why your EM fields are going off is because of the walkie-talkie.
Okay, then I'll put it down. Put this on the blanket.
But just showing you, that's how it works. That energy spiked them up.
You guys ready?
Yep.
All right, right now, I'm very pumped up for this. This is a place that has a lot of doors. You all right?
I'm good.
Okay. All right, let's start.
There we go.
Let's go right to the top.
Yeah, keep going.
Right now, we're going to go in the very top level. This is where the surgical room was, right, Lonnie?
Yeah.
Oh. Somebody in here? You've got something to say. I'd like for you to say it.
There right here is one of our infrared. It's one of our infrared digital still cameras. We have them kind of like everywhere. Right now they're on motion. It really walks past the motion mode.
Holy shit.
What was that? It's just an explosion, like a gunshot.
It's a bad idea. The cold is surrounding my body.
My right leg
Oh my God. My whole body right now is completely numb.
What the was that? Holy shit. At the United Verde Hospital clubhouse, the startling door slam leaves us searching for explanations.
What happened?
Did you see that, Billy?
We don't see anything, but we heard it.
Someone slammed that door over there.
As we review our footage, we notice that this wall is obstructing the view of the door slamming shut.
Lonnie, did you see?
See it, but man, it slammed hard.
Show how dark it is, Aaron, really quick.
On it. That's how dark it is in here.
Somebody down here?
There's someone in here. We just heard you. Sound like you were really angry.
We just heard a heavy door slam violently shut, and as we walk over to investigate, we immediately discover that there is no logical explanation for this event.
What was that?
Holy
What was that? It's just an explosion, like a gunshot.
Someone slammed that door over there.
Lonnie, come here.
Watch your step going up, Lonnie.
What door would have slammed?
Can't see.
Wait a minute.
That one?
And that thing just went bam.
Go outside real quick.
Yeah, show them. Show them what's outside. There's nothing outside.
This is outside.
And there is no wind outside. Have a plastic bag with nothing in it. Slightest breeze. I'm gonna show you right now that there is not a breath of wind outside here.
Nothing.
It doesn't slam shut. I'm pushing it. It actually comes back.
As you can clearly see, even with me using physical force, the door will not slam shut by itself.
And you can actually see it on camera from this position, slam shut with
no wind.
Not a breath of wind.
What was that?
What do you think about what just happened?
Well, there's no wind outside.
There is none.
None. It's so still outside. It's amazing. And that slammed with some real force.
This door is also located on the 3rd floor, seen here.
So just stand up here, Nick, on camera. Don't move so everybody can see that you're not moving. Aaron, go down to the morgue. Stand there absolutely still. Don't even shuffle. Don't even play with your pockets. Stand absolutely still. You and I are going to go down to the 2nd floor, just me and you, and I'm going to talk and lead the EVP session. If something big time happens, scream. You ready, Lonnie?
I'm all set.
It's a bad idea, but
Why do I have have to stay up here by myself.
I also took Aaron's night vision camera, so right now he's in pure darkness. He cannot see anything, as you are about to see through his point of view shoulder cam.
All right, Billy, you guys, just so you know, I have the walkie in here in case something happens.
Right now we're going to do a group EVP session in this huge building, and everything is absolutely still. Myself and Lonnie are here on the second floor. Upstairs where the door just slammed is Nick. Downstairs on the first floor is Aaron in the morgue, standing absolutely still. If you want to talk, now's your time to talk. If that was you that slammed the door up top, we just left a guy up there by himself.
I keep thinking I'm like seeing shadows moving around here. It's just creepy.
Feels like someone's walking around. I feel a few presences in here. Usually I'm not all feely, notice things, but this was right away, instant.
If you're little children, and you came here and you were sick. I don't want you to be afraid of me. I'm not yelling at you. If you're in the morgue right now, there's a guy standing in there. Can you go up to him and grab him and try and push him out of here?
While we aren't getting any unexplained voices on our recorders, Aaron seems to be experiencing something very uncomfortable.
Are you guys circling around me, checking me out right now? Guys, I'm having a really bad something happening to me right now.
Come on, make a big noise for us.
What did he say?
What, Aaron? What's wrong? Come on, Lonnie.
I feel like all these things are surrounding me. I got total goosebumps, everything. I'm just standing here. It's really bad in here, dude.
I'm freezing right now. The cold is surrounding my body. I can feel you. I know you're here.
I'm staying here a little bit longer.
Staying here a little longer.
Hey, Aaron, here real quick though. Yes. I can feel like a chill right here. If you're around me, just touch my jacket. If you touch my jacket, you'll make one of those lights appear. Is there somebody around me right now? If there is, what is your name?
You just went up degrees on your arm. Your arm's up to like 3 degrees higher.
Jeez. Do you know Lonnie? Come here, Lonnie. What was the gentleman's name that used to work here?
Michael.
Hey, Michael, I'm Zach. I know you know Lonnie.
Michael was the building's maintenance keeper who Lonnie was also friends with. He committed suicide about 3 years ago, and earlier Lonnie was telling us before his death, Michael told him about all the ghosts he would see.
And you're telling me he was seeing spirits?
He's seeing things, yeah. My right leg is...
Oh my God. My whole body right now is completely numb.
You're all lit up back here, too.
Am I? Are you here with us, Michael?
Michael?
Right now, I'm feeling a static-type charge around me, and what's ironic is that this light you see reflecting off the wall is a sensor from my jacket that may be picking up electromagnetic energy, which ghosts are said to be made up of.
I knew you were right behind me just now.
What the hell?
Is Nick moving? Billy?
No, he's standing still.
Wow, that was loud.
Sure. Go up and check on Nick. Hey, Nick? Hey, where are you? Nick?
What the hell is that?
I just felt like it was really wanting to do harm.
showing you one of the most impressive EVPs that we've captured yet.
As the Jerome, Arizona night rolls on, we regroup with Nick, who is more than a little shaken.
Right here.
Okay. Well, I just started feeling sick. I actually saw with my own eyes like a black mass that like rushed in front of me, and then I followed it right into here. I'm not lying, it was trying to get me to go up in the headache, and I like refused because I just felt like it was really wanted to do harm. I'm not even kidding.
We start heading over to the attic to investigate with our thermal imaging camera, but this cold energy hits us.
Are you guys as cold as I am? Because I'm like shaking.
Yeah. Just got cold, man.
My jacket's lighting up blue.
And I kept saying, I'm feeling it. Look at my, I feel the coldness around in my body right now. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
My jacket's picking up on it.
I feel that too when it starts lighting it up.
Were you trying to lead him somewhere?
It goes. Go to that attic area. Do you want to talk to us? Are you one of the patients that were brought in the hospital? So, go over here with that. With the opening to that. Tell me what you feel with that. That was a weird, I've been to a lot of crazy locations and I don't know what it was, but after a while I just started.
What's up there, Zach? Caught something.
What'd you get?
I'm just going to show you right where I caught that same spot, and there's nothing.
That's awesome.
Coming down. Come here. This was kind of a purple blotchy thing that just appears as a mist in front of the camera, and then it just like went away. Come here, Lonnie. There I am, looking over. It's all clear. Now watch. I go back this way, you'll see a purplish form. There.
What the hell is that? What is that?
And then it's gone.
What's really interesting is that we can actually see the anomaly manifest itself with enough substance that it blocks out the background, and then when I pan back, it has vanished into thin air. So we're all done. We just completed the lockdown inside here. What were some of the things that happened tonight that really shocked you?
Stuff that I didn't really expect. I didn't expect things to be quite as loud.
Holy. And then the thermal camera.
We found that floating ball and
Right.
it took
It was
off.
weird.
I really appreciate you guys coming here and checking out this building. And it was really fun to be part of the experience.
Thanks, Lonnie.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, bud. Okay. All right, Billy, what are you showing us?
I'm showing you one of the most impressive EVPs that we've captured yet.
Really?
Yeah, and it's a full sentence.
Let's hear it.
Tell us what you want.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a clear voice.
And help.
Yeah,
that's what I hear.
What's even more compelling is it answers the question you're asking.
Tell us what you want.
And you're in the
She says,
elevator
I just
shaft,
so
yeah. I
answers
just
your
wanna
question
listen.
like that.
Says, I just want
This
to
is-
listen and help.
This is one of the most compelling, best EVPs that we have gotten in a long time because of the tone, the intelligence to your question.
Yeah, I know.
What she's saying.
This straight line that you see here is a left and right side.
Yeah, this is us talking, right?
Typically, human speech goes equal distances both ways, left and right, as you talk.
Right.
Look what happens over here when she's talking. It doesn't go left to right.
Down.
It goes down.
She's speaking in a sub-frequency, which is very, very typical of EVP.
Right.
This is an amazing EVP. This is what we go out for. We don't always get the best EVPs like this, but when we do get this, we love to showcase it. Good find. Jerome, Arizona was a double-header for us as we investigated the Jerome Grand Hotel in the former hospital clubhouse. First, at the hotel, we communicated with the spirit. Then at the clubhouse, slamming doors. And ghostly orbs told us that we had company all through our lockdown. Our mission in Jerome is complete, and we hope the Altiers and Lonnie can gain some more closure.
Hey, let's confess our sins.
The chokings occur upstairs. Pretty sure that it's a nun.
A nun that's doing the choking?
Or do they not like tattoos right in there?
My name is Zach Fagan. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. You wanted us, you got us. So I set out on a quest to capture what I once saw onto video. With no big camera crews following us around, I am joined only by my fellow investigator, Nick Groff, and our equipment tech, Aaron Goodwin. The three of us will travel to some of the most highly active paranormal locations where we will spend an entire night being locked down from dusk until dawn.
You have reached your final destination. Hell.
Raw. Extreme.
Stop running!
These are our ghost adventures.
So right now we're in the middle of absolute nowhere, really, in Texas. I say we're in the middle of nowhere because we've been driving and driving and driving, and all we've been seeing are like oil refineries, and then all of a sudden you just come up into this little old town. Our next lockdown, we're looking for this old abandoned hospital that we've heard is insanely active with both evil and good spirits. Some even say demonic.
In our travels, we visited many hospitals. By their nature, these locations are witness to an almost countless number of deaths. Here, tragedy and trauma collide with birth and second chances in an intense storm of emotions that are the perfect staging ground for the paranormal.
This is it right here?
I don't know. It looks like it. Holy yeah, that's a creepy looking place.
Keep going up, I think.
I like the look of this location. Creepy, spooky. This is Ghost Adventures material right here. I can't wait.
So we're looking for a guy named Mike, right? He lives on property.
Let's go find him.
The Yorktown Memorial Hospital. We came here because of the D word. When there's demons, we don't think twice. It's open. Hey, Mike? I feel like I'm gonna get shot in a minute.
Don't worry, I'm filming.
Hello? Hello? Are you sure this is the right place?
I hope so.
I don't see anybody, man. I don't know.
Gee, behind you.
What the What the is that?
It's a donkey.
What the hell?
Don't come near me.
Where did that come from?
Go.
Where did that thing come from?
What the hell?
What in the hell?
Back up, buddy. He's charging me. Don't, Aaron. Don't get up in his face.
Well, we're investigating this place, but we seem to have a little problem. We can't find Mike. The only thing that we can find is a donkey. A donkey. Don't ever lunge a donkey's ass.
No more.
Guys, there's an open door over here. Come on. Oh, we got movement. Hi.
What's up?
How you doing, man? Are you Mike?
Mike.
Hey, I'm Zach. So, Mike, how long have you been living in here for?
2 years.
2 years? Now, what do? You just kind of watch the building and stuff?
I just watch over it. I've been trying to put it back together, patch up the windows, holes in the roof.
Just you and your... Does your donkey have a name?
Spirit.
Spirit. Just you and Spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Yorktown, Texas, home to a booming oil industry. Life has never been better. But what's this? One of the city's youngest residents is grievously ill. There's a catch, you see. Yorktown is a community without a hospital. But
Now, what was with the nuns? Did they build this place?
Well, yeah, they secured the land, and they went out and got grants, and they built it, they worked it, they did everything from mopping floors to setting bones and stitching people.
And that they built this for the purpose of a hospital?
Right, this was a Catholic hospital.
Blessed be God, oh, blessed be God.
We're gonna go talk to a guy right now, an actual doctor who used to not only work here, but was also born here. So I think he may know this place better than anybody. That's alive, at least.
I know. I just saw that. That is creepy.
Dr. Barth?
Yes,
How you doing?
Just fine.
Did you used to work here?
I was a family practice physician.
Really?
Yes,
At this
physician
hospital?
at this hospital.
Now, is it true that you were actually born here, too?
Born right here.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
In this room?
Yes. I was born 6 minutes after midnight, July the 4th, 1953.
If you were to give a ballpark number, how many actual deaths do you think this place saw?
As time went by, it was probably, could be around 50 a year. You know what I'm saying, at that time.
Times about 40 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's about 2,000 deaths.
Yeah, probably so, yeah.
You guys see death a lot. You are there at that moment that we all dread. We're all human, you know? What is that like?
There's nothing magical about it or mysterious to me about it, but still, it's an emotional issue that is going to affect somebody, and either family, and it affects us too. I remember probably in the mid-1980s, a young girl had passed away. She was doing carpooling to go to school, and she died. We worked on her trying to resuscitate her. But I remember walking out and just having a very strange feeling, somebody that young dying without cause.
Times that story, times 2,000 stories in this building. And you just see all that energy. That's what we're after. Do you believe in ghosts?
I believe in ghosts. I know they exist.
And do they exist here?
They definitely exist here.
Are they good or are they bad?
You got both. There's been a lot of hits, slaps, kicks, punches.
So there's been a lot of attacks in here?
Yes.
There has?
Yeah.
So do you think we're going to go in here and get f***ed up by your ghosts? I mean, do you think they're going to beat the shit out of us?
It happens.
It does?
And
how do we go in
feelings-
here and get beat out of us? How do we get the bad ones?
how.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask
Yell at 'em.
But you're here. But you're here a lot. Okay, I don't know if you believe in ghosts or not. Do you?
I can't say I actually do, but I've experienced a lot of things that weren't quite explainable, let me say that.
When you worked here, or really? What kind of things?
This used to be the doctor's lounge, right here. And, of course, that was the emergency room. And so one night, I fell asleep on the couch, and I woke up, and I saw a silhouette of a doctor that I used to know here. A physician that worked here had just passed away at home.
You did? But you saw that physician that passed away here?
I saw a silhouette that that's who it made me think it was. But it was, I couldn't see face, I couldn't see details. But when I woke up, I kind of got up to go see the patient. And when I got up and looked again, he was gone. Yeah. From then on, every time I'd take a nap or have to work there, I would get up and make sure that nobody was standing there.
That's what these experiences do. They keep you asking yourself over and over and over.
That's what I do. When I have one of those, because I'm a straight shooter like you, and when that happens, I've seen an actual ghost stand in front of me, and my mind races like, how could that be possible, you know? But it happens. But it happens, it sticks with you.
This place place is just full of spirits, huh?
Yeah, it's full of spirits. One of them, he's a big guy. You're gonna like him. His name was Doug Richards.
Now, when you investigated this place, you brought us to here, this crossroads where we heard this intersection in the basement is a very big hot spot right here.
This is the four-way, and the feeling is completely different than where it is any place else. Down at the end of the hall, we were asking for Doug, which is the so-called name that they call him by, and about 2 seconds after I asked, from the left-hand side, right down here at the end, walked across. Very, very large shadow. Looked like a very, very large man.
Why most mother and daughters go shopping at Macy's for the weekend. They come to the demonic locations where thousands of people died. Cool. Cool family.
The chokings occur upstairs. I'm pretty sure that it's a nun that's doing that.
Oh, get back. Put your cameras down.
We're not supposed to be out here. After nearly 40 years of service, in 1988, the Yorktown Memorial Hospital was closed. But the building hadn't seen its last patient. It was immediately resurrected as a drug rehabilitation center.
See that sign right there below that light?
Yeah.
It says ring bell in case of emergency. At 10 o'clock, the nuns would close it down. And so one of them would stay up all night listening for the buzzer. Well, Saturday morning, they open the door and they find a big guy laying there.
So the guy who died of a heroin overdose, his name's TJ.
TJ.
And you say that this is one of the spirits you believe that's haunting here that a lot of people come into contact with.
Yeah.
Were there any murders or suicides that you know about here?
There's murder in the basement. You go down them steps, and that's the boiler room. It was supposed to be a triple stabbing, double homicide. A female counselor was carrying on with 2 male patients. The guy and the lady are standing here talking. The other guy comes through the door, and he stabbed the lady first, and then he stabbed the guy. The guy took his knife and killed him with it.
So
and that's their blood. Starting from...
Yep, I see it.
Aaron, you might have to get that wig out again. Stanley Hotel.
I think that got thrown away. Thank goodness.
We'll find another one. Did we seriously just start rolling at a school bus stop? Hey!
Yeah, they're all waiting for their kids.
Hi!
I see you on TV.
You do?
Yeah, you're hot.
Ah, thank you. Awkward.
Looks like Zach's got a new girlfriend.
You think this place is haunted? It is? You been in there? You have. You're lying. Yeah? All right, do your homework tonight. Okay?
Move along. Move along.
Okay. We were just interviewing Mike over here, sitting in his patio chairs, and he told us somewhere over here in these apartments is a lady named Crystal, and Crystal was inside the location and actually got scratched. Hi. Crystal?
Bristol.
Bristol?
Yes.
How is it?
Bristol.
Bristol. Bristol. Hi, I'm Zach.
Hi.
Nice to meet you. Do you mind if we talk to you for a minute?
No.
Okay, let's cut and get a mic on her. All right, so Bristol, we were just talking to Mike over there at the hospital, and he said that you went in that hospital before and something happened to you to where you've got a scratch on your arm or something.
All of a sudden, I felt this like weird feeling on my arm, like a burning. And when we got back up to the lobby, I looked again, and it was my skin was raised and it was red and
All
it was
welted
burning,
up.
and I was like, what is this? So I didn't know what it was.
At that time, were you feeling uncomfortable? Anything around you?
I just had the feeling that somebody was there, other than me and Mike. But I get that feeling quite a bit over there.
You do?
Every time I turn around or I'm by myself when I'm walking through there, there's always somebody behind me.
Do you think that building is haunted?
Oh, I know it. Yes, it's
Yeah.
definitely haunted.
Yeah.
Whenever we were sitting up in the nuns' lounge and they were talking about girls with tattoos getting choked, I was like, I don't want to be in here then.
Yeah. But you don't have tattoos though, right?
Yeah.
You do? Did you ever get choked?
The chokings occur upstairs in the nuns' corridor.
In the nuns' corridor. This is no joke. This is really going on, huh?
It's really going on. We've had 2 males get choked. For sure that it's a nun that's doing that.
A nun that's doing the choking?
Right. And, you know, to put ink on your body is actually not a good thing.
Because nuns think that's bad, right?
Yes.
Good. Well, I'm going to take my shirt off up there because I got tattoos all over my torso.
Back in the day, there was no men allowed up there. They don't like men up there.
Well,
either.
good. That's 2 strikes because I'm a man and I got tattoos.
Yep.
So if some crazy, mean nuns want to get busy and get mean and choke me, I'm going to go in there and hopefully I get choked because I'm going to take my shirt off and show them my tattoos. Did they ever get any victims of oil accidents, probably? Yes. Here they did. We should go check that out.
Yeah. You want to check that out, or?
Working on an oil rig can be deadly. We want to know more about the types of injuries that occur there in order to better understand a worker's dying moments.
Stop right here, I guess.
It's crazy.
Aaron, bring your cameras over here. You got these guys coming in and out of here in these trucks. I don't know if we're supposed to be filming this close to that oil drill over there. What we're trying to do right now is we got a little time before our lockdown. Uh-oh. Get back.
What?
Hang on. Put your cameras down. Hang on a second. How you doing? What are you doing out here? We're just filming a little bit. We're filming at the abandoned hospital over in Yorktown. So we were hoping to kind of maybe get close to one of these oil drills. Or not?
We're not supposed to be out here.
Oh, we're not?
No, sir.
Here, guys, go over there with the cameras. So can I ask you something real quick before we get out of here?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. We're investigating over at Yorktown at the hospital. And, I mean, we hunt ghosts. That's what we do. We figured out from one of the doctors there that a lot of the patients there came in there and died from oil accidents. So all we were trying to do is get close to one of these drills and maybe hopefully talk to somebody that works on there so we could try and figure out how these guys would have died.
Well, there's all sorts of ways they die on these rigs. You get hands cut off, fingers cut off, arm cut off, you get your legs broken. Everything happens out there.
So you're from this area, right?
Yes, sir. I'm from Yorktown.
You're from Yorktown. So you heard of have you heard of the abandoned hospital?
Yes, sir. My uncle died there.
Your uncle died there?
He got stabbed.
Your uncle got stabbed?
He got stabbed by some guys, went to the hospital, and died there.
Wow.
So I believe...
Do you believe in ghosts and stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever been to that hospital?
Yes, sir. I got my first stitches there in that hospital by Dr. Gordon Barth, Sr.
What? We just interviewed this guy. Damn, man, what's up? First he told me we're gonna get our asses kicked. Now this is a small little world, man. So you know Dr. Barth. We interviewed him. Have you ever heard about him telling you about his ghost story in the hospital?
Yeah.
Really?
Everybody knows about the ghosts at the hospital.
Really?
And I believe my uncle's one of them. Never found peace.
Wow. This just got really weird, this whole connection. And here you just pull over and we have this connection with the hospital. Not only that, but you believe in ghosts and you believe that one of the ghosts is your family member, your uncle, who was stabbed.
Yes, sir.
And you believe that he haunts this hospital.
Yes, sir.
What is his name?
Romaldo Vela.
Romaldo Vela.
Yes, they call him Mayo for short.
Mayo? Mayo. You want to remember that?
Yep.
If we come into contact with him, what do you want us to say?
Just tell him we're doing great.
Okay.
Just tell him we're doing great.
So now that it seems like we kind of made friends with you, are we allowed to get a little closer?
Just don't cross the fence.
No, don't cross the fence?
Just don't cross the fence.
Then
don't get close. There's a gate guard. Don't get close to that gate guard.
They'll probably take me down?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so let's...
Roughnecks ain't little guys.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's why they call them roughnecks.
Yeah.
I don't think I want to square off with a... Well, hey, roughneck in one corner, demon hunter in the other. Let's go. Nuns built this hospital, and they don't like tattoos. I'm gonna have to do a little strip down tonight.
Here we go. Here we go. Woo-hoo.
All right, we're ready to begin our lockdown. It is officially getting dark outside. Mike.
Yes.
So this is a place where a lot of attacks have happened.
Yes.
And nuns actually built this hospital, right?
Yes.
And they don't like tattoos, do they?
No.
I'm gonna have to do a little strip down tonight because all my tattoos are concealed by clothing. And what happens when tattooed people go up there?
Choking.
Choking. And where does that take place?
Top floor.
Cool. Sounds like a fun place. Lock us in your building.
Good luck.
That's a lockdown. All right, we are now locked down inside of Yorktown Hospital. Not only did we learn today from a doctor who was not only born here, but also worked here and also saw the apparition of a man inside this room. But he informed us that he could have guesstimated about 2,000 people losing their lives in this old hospital. But the real reason we came here is by the high number